My name is Fred Betsy. Well, first of all, let me call the meeting to order. Mia, if you could please, would you be able to take the minutes for this evening? Thank you very much. Please record the time. It's 7:06 p.m. We are now calling this meeting of CB9 to order. My name is Fred Baptiste. I serve as the chair of CB9. I want to welcome everyone for joining us this evening as we conduct the business on the agenda for this evening. Very briefly, we're going to waive the reading of the rules of order. All to say that here in our community district, in our board meetings, we want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to be heard. We want to make sure that we have an atmosphere where we can speak, share ideas, grow ideas, all in an environment of respect. So I would just ask that all speakers, we always make sure we respect all the speakers as they speak, and that we're at attention and we're taking in all the conversations that are happening. At this time, we're going to move to item 2, presentations. Is there currently a representative from the Major Owens Recreation Center present?
He is here. Give me. All right. Mahmoud Fleary is the representative representing. He is on.
Good evening, Mr. Fleury. Welcome to Community Board 9. We're here for your presentation regarding the Major Owens Recreation Center. You have the floor.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope everybody is having a good evening. I'm losing my voice, so bear with me. Am I able to share my screen? Am I able to share my screen?
You should be able to. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
All right. Is it located down there at the bottom for you now?
Let me double check. Yep.
All right.
Thank you so much. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay, so initially, this is a logo for Major Owens of the Health and Wellness Community Center. This would be the website where everyone can go to sign up for a gym membership or a membership that that best fit the profile of that person inquiring about the membership. So normally our operation hours are from the administration operation hours are from 9 a.m. to 5. But we are normally open. The Major Owens Community Center is open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Sunday. These positions are stationed at the Major Owens Community Center, and they are located in the admin office. And we are normally here from 9 a.m. to 5. Sometimes we're here from 11 to 7, depending on the need of the operation. I'm Mahmoud Fleary, I'm the Army Director. We also have Casey Selby, she's the Director of Operations for the Major Owens Community Center. She'll be the person overseeing all of the policies, protocols, procedures. She'll be liaison with all the tenants within the facility. Eric Woodman, he is with BSC Partners. BSC Partners has been on the project way before Boys Club of New York has been on. We are currently liaison with him, and he's transitioning the building over to Boys Club of New York as we're coming to open our doors 11 to 1. Some of our partners that we have within the facility, these are all independent operators. We have New Heights, the basketball program, Global Sports, Bedrock for Communities again, the Jesse Davis Foundation, Impateo, Brooklyn Community Pride, Kodaka, Kind of Lord, Vision Girl, Imagine Swim. They'll be providing a bunch of different programming, swim programming, dance programming, a bunch of different programming for our community. And these different organizations, they also have discounted pricing for our CB9 community who qualify for the programs. So I just kind of pinpointed some of our memberships that we have available for our CB9 qualifiers. So there'll be individual memberships, there'll be family memberships. Our family memberships are inclusive of a diverse household. So at some points there's 2 members, one adult, but at some points there are 2 adults, 2 children. So we definitely have options for all different situations. And the way we qualify individuals for the CB9 membership is through household income. So based off of these specific qualifiers, we do conduct an intake every Wednesday when we have people come in to qualify for the program. This is like this portion here is just a the self-service module that people will use when they first are logging onto our website. They initially would need to create a profile for themselves, and then they will receive a confirmation email via the email, and then they would essentially confirm that email is valid. And what that will do is that will bring them onto our self-help website, our self-service website, where they'll complete their profile. Once they complete their profile, it will give them access, so everyone will have access to the actual membership options, where they can actually purchase their memberships. And our memberships range from some of our CB9 district memberships to our general memberships that goes from anywhere between $30 to up to $120 for a family. Again, as you're looking at the self module, you can book classes, you can see what class schedules are for the course of the week, for the course of the month, and you have the opportunity to book your classes and purchase packages via this online self-service platform. And again, part of the online platform is that it allows you to kind of filter out classes and see exactly, what classes fall on a specific date, a specific time, to see if it works for your schedule. Again, this is just something on a self-service website where it allows you to kind of look at all the classes, it allows you to see what their interests are, and what specific things they're interested in on the course of that day. And that's all I have. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Fleury. At this time, I think we'll entertain a couple of questions. We do have a full agenda, so we'll entertain a couple of questions at this time. The district office team, you see any raised hands?
The only one I see is Maxine Barnes in the attendees.
All right, if you can promote Ms. Barnes.
And families are still living with the trauma of COVID. I'm not going to go backwards. We must protect the people in the city.
She should be able to speak now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Ms. Barnes.
You hear me well?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. My question is the income levels that you put up on the screen very quickly are not indicative of this community. You have to be impoverished, dirt poor, for a household of $125,000. That's asinine. And second, my question is, when did the CB9 advisory committee meet and present any of this to the community? Did I miss that?
So this is a presentation I just started presenting last week. I was asked to present
the CB9 advisory committee.
So this is the information I created and developed last week. This is the first time people are seeing this presentation specifically. No one has seen this presentation as of yet. When it came to the household incomes, I thought that was something that was already discussed with VFC and the CB9 board prior to me. What I'm showing now is just what was given to me and communicated of how it would be, how people would qualify for the CB9 program.
Thank you, Mr. Fleury. But again, my question was, we had an in-house CB9 advisory committee, and the community was never advised or presented to.
That's not quite accurate, Ms. Barnes. There is no CB9 advisory committee to the Major Owen Center. There is an advisory board for that I think the project has itself. We do have some relationships, so we do get briefings on occasion from Mr. Woodland on different things that happen, but there is not specifically an advisory board function that we serve here.
Oh, okay, my mistake, because I do see that there are CB9 members on that board members on that advisory committee. I do see that.
Right, but they're not, yeah, but it's not a CV9 program.
Okay, thank you. And I would be remiss to identify the Bedford Armory as Major Owens Community Center. It is not a community center. It is a private residential recreation center for the residents. And it is insulting to keep defining it as a community center. I am surprised that their family allowed that. There is no Olympic pool. There is no music and arts, computer center, after school programming. This is not a community center. This is a private recreational area for the residents of this community. And lastly, I hope that my community never forgets what has happened here, and especially remember this unaffordable farce at the polls. Thank you for hearing me out and not interrupting me, which is what usually happens. Burke is not here. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes. I do have one question before we let you go, Mr. Fleury. With respect to the programming, you did show that there were a number of different operators that are going to be in the building. So when you purchase a membership, does that membership go across the different organizations? Is it a la carte, you can do one thing with Ife Tayo and one thing with Digital Girl, or do you register separately with each of the operators?
Correct. So when you qualify for the CB9 memberships, it allows you to participate in it's an open pool and open, basketball and open fitness and open class times. It also provides that particular kind of membership with discounted membership rates for classes and so forth. When it comes to now, if that specific member of the facility or of the Major Owens would like to participate in a basketball program, they would definitely reach out to that independent operator, which that operator also knows that there are discounted rates that are supposed to be presented to members who qualify under the CB9 Major Owens membership.
Okay, so not all the Major Owens membership. So there's two different fees essentially that might be charged. So one for Major Owens membership, and depending on what programming you do with the operator. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right. At this time, well, thank you very much for joining us this evening. We look forward to working with Major Owens and all the operators as well. And please, if there are any other updates, you can always come and give any news as well with any activities going on in the center.
Okay,
thank you very much for coming this evening. Okay, we are now going to move on. We have another presenter this evening. 1 second, I want to make sure I get the organization right. Do we have a representative here from the New York Center for Community Psychoanalysis?
Yes, Tracy Seitzinger is on.
Okay, Dr. Seitzinger?
That's correct. Hi.
Okay, absolutely. Welcome to CB9. You have the floor.
Thank you. And I have a short presentation that, if it works, I can share my screen as well.
Okay, give us 1 second.
Okay.
Do you see the share screen at the bottom of your?
Yes.
Okay, good.
All right, so you can see my screen all right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, and thank you again for having me here this evening. I'm Tracy Seitzinger. I'm a psychologist, and I represent my organization, the New York Center for Community Psychoanalysis. We are an organization in health and social services in Flatbush. We registered as a nonprofit in March of 2021 and are aiming to have a physical location where we can offer mental health services, psychological services in the community, hopefully next year. So we don't have a physical location or can't offer services yet, and that's why we're presenting to you this evening. We will be located in Community District 9 and also serve the neighborhoods around Flatbush. all of the larger Flatbush area, as you can see in the other community districts there. And I'll just tell you briefly about our organization. It consists currently of myself, the executive director, as well as my co-director, Carlos Padron, who will be the clinical director. At the time of opening, we will have 7 therapists, including social workers and psychiatrists on staff. We will employ BIPOC therapists within the community to offer culturally responsive services. And in our name is psychoanalysis and psychotherapy, offering longer term intensive treatments, including an intensive outpatient program. But even for those individuals who aren't in that IOP intensive outpatient program, to offer more than adequate treatment, which is often an issue in terms of those who seek treatment don't have access to adequate treatment. So we want to provide the kind of care that is engaged in the community, and family members welcome to come, children of patients welcome to come, depending all services to really help reduce the recidivism that we often see in mental health services. And that's part of the psychotherapy and psychoanalysis aspect of our approach. We will have, with those 7 therapists on staff, in a year, we will have 9,000 treatment hours. We'll do, in addition to individual treatment, couples treatment, group therapy, and family therapy, working with adults and adolescents. And we want to serve somewhat as a community center in the sense of being a place that is open, even to have events, even for those who aren't seeking therapy, to be a space where skill sharing can happen, peer support can happen, and to make it accessible regardless of a person's ability to pay. One of those things that we plan to offer is free childcare on site for those who are getting treatment because of that important accessibility issue. Please disregard the 18 and over patient population. We received feedback from the Health and Social Services Committee that adolescents are in need. We know this is really true. So under 18 will also be treated. In terms of who will be coming, in terms of the affordability of care, 40% of our population will be using Medicare, 5% Medicaid, 50% will be self-pay, which includes a sliding scale, and then 5% of our population will be low fee or no fee, so that we really will be accessible regardless of a person's ability to pay, which is very, very important in meeting the community's needs, and being able to have those services that actually affect the well-being of everyone here. We already discussed a little bit the catchment area. You can see there. One of the reasons this is so important, and in addition to living in the area, wanting to open a clinic here, is because Community District 9 has currently only 6 health and human service agencies that offer outpatient mental health services for adults. So clearly we need more of these services. Historically and currently, we're an underserved community, and that needs to change. We can see our district had over 1,100 psychiatric hospitalizations per 100,000 people. In the last, 2018 was the last Community Health Profiles report. But this was compared to 684 per the same number in Brooklyn overall. So there's clearly a large need here. And again, something that we hope to change. And what we are looking for this evening from the community board is a letter of support, which will be used in our application to the state of New York. The PAR application is the prior authorization review, which the state goes over to see if the organization is needed in the community, is working with the community, and whether there actually is a need or not. And so we do want to work together and hear from everyone who is here this evening in terms of what will make the best clinic possible for everyone here, and also if you think that there is a need, that would be supported in our application. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Seidzinger. We will take a couple of questions. I do see, hold on one second. I see board members Pinkerton and Burke. Ms. Pinkerton, go ahead.
Hi, am I unmuted?
Yes.
Okay, I just a quick question. I heard that you mentioned some stats about how many cases there were or calls for mental health assistance. And I was wondering, are they correlated highly with the homeless shelters in our area or other group homes that we may have? Because I know in previous board meetings, there was a discussion about zoning for them, and that our district is overrepresented in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's an excellent question. Actually, a lot of these numbers are based on self-report surveys, and so a lot of that data actually doesn't include the homeless populations, which aren't included in that data. So I'm not sure, maybe you could say which numbers you were asking about specifically. The calls for services, when I said 9,000 hours would be what our organization would be able to offer.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you mentioned something like 1,100 something, and then there was compared to 300 or 900 for all of Brooklyn. So it kind of showed that there was a lot of need in this area. And I was just wondering if there's a correlation with the need and an overrepresentation of a population that we have that has been brought up in previous board meetings.
Yes, thank you. That number is in reference to the number of psychiatric hospitalizations in the area, and so would include homeless individuals. And I think you're absolutely right that there is, we know that mental health services are underfunded everywhere, and it contributes to homelessness. And if we offer services for mental health and in a way that can reduce the recidivism, it can also reduce the homelessness in the area.
Okay, we have to move on in the agenda. We do have 3 other questions. We're just gonna move through them very quickly. So we have member Warren Burke. I did see one hand raised in the, I did see one hand that was raised previously from one member of the public. And there was one question in the chat that I would also just give very quickly. So actually the question for you, Dr. Seidzinger, is will you serve adolescents or are you looking to partner with schools?
Yes, and yes.
Thank you very much. Warren, go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Seidzinger. Thank you for a good presentation. My question is, I was looking at your breakdown of your source of funding for Medicaid, Medicare, self-funded, etc. Basically, I think that your Medicaid funding is way underestimated. We are I would say, highest user of benefits in Brooklyn, meaning central Brooklyn, not just Crown Heights. And it just worries me a little that you're not going to be servicing people who we need. So if we skew it to the older people who have Medicare, and we underestimate it, or we have a budget for it for Medicaid, and the reality is, my last Kings County Hospital meeting is the surge in younger people. So I'm just a little concerned that you will not be servicing the greatest of need. Thank you.
Thank you. Perhaps it was switched on there, but the Medicaid is the larger population that we will be serving, and Medicare is the smaller.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, yes. Thank you for clarifying that. That's very important.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So, just because I did want to, just for background, I appreciate Dr. Seisinger coming and speaking to us this evening. She actually presented to the Health and Social Services Committee. So actually, there is a vote that we need for the board to have tonight with regards to the support of the letter of support. Because of that, I do want to allow for a couple more questions. I know I'd cut it off. We will allow for a couple of more questions just so that way, hopefully the board is clear with respect to the organization. So we are going to see Teresa Westerdahl, Eli Slavin, we're going to see Suki, and then Augustine, and we're going to close on you, Augustine, okay? All right, Teresa, go ahead. If you could promote Teresa, please.
Hi. Well, I actually had my hand raised for the other, for Major Owens, and I wasn't called on. But I'll ask her a question. I just like to see a website link so I can do some more research. And I also I find it very difficult to be in this meeting when I can't see who's speaking most of the time. I would like to see all the board members and a list of who's in the meeting so I can refer to that. I see people speaking, including myself, and nobody can see me. I find that very disjointing and not a good way to conduct a meeting. So I'm not pleased with that. And I'm going to need some psychoanalyzing from Tracy Seisinger. So I'd like her phone number, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Dr. Seisinger, if you could leave your contact information with the district office, so that way if there's anybody who wants to contact you or research the organization, they can do that afterwards as well. So Teresa, we'll make sure we get that information. Just contact the district office. They'll be able to connect you. Eli Slavin, please. I always get some pronunciation. I apologize. I know I butcher it often.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so good evening. My name is Eli Slavin. I'm community liaison for Congressman Yvette Clarke. I'm not going to be long here. All our information, a lot of our information is on the website. It's Clarke, CLARKE.house.gov. So all the activities of the member are on the website. Please, you're invited to go on there. Also, you register to get our email, our newsletters. Our number is 718-287-1142. We're at 222 Lenox Road. We're open for business, but please, by appointment only. I just wanted to thank the chairman, Mr. Baptiste, and Mr. District Manager, Mr. Arwan, for taking part. We had 2 weeks ago, Thursday night, the Congresswoman honored Mr. Ozzie Fletcher, a 99-year-old Crown Heights resident who's been in our area for many, many years, worked for the district attorney's office, finally received his Purple Heart after all these years. Our office was part of other offices to get his Purple Heart. The Congressman honored him at an event at the Jewish Children's Museum with a congressional recognition and congressional record. We had Holocaust survivors of the district there to thank him and to show him our appreciation. So I just want to thank Committee Board 9 for showing up and taking part. And with that, I'll say good evening. Again, my email is Eli, that's eli.slavin@mail.house.gov. Please, any issues, federal issues that you have, please, you feel more than welcome to email me or call our office. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Slavin. Suki?
Yes, hi. So as Warren noted, we do have a major psychiatric hospital in the district at Kings County. So to Amy's point, that might possibly be accounting for the higher number of psychiatric hospitalizations. But my question to you, Dr. Seisinger, is whether you're affiliated in any way with Kings County or the other hospitals in our area at SUNY Downstate or Kingsbrook Jewish?
I am not affiliated with any of those hospitals, nor is my co-director. We are working to establish relationships with the hospitals because we would offer different services, obviously, continuity of care after release from inpatient hospitalizations.
And are you aware of whether or not they've released any recommendations for what kind of outpatient care they need to complement their own in-house clinics as well as their own outpatient clinics? Do you follow those recommendations or guidelines?
I'm not aware of any recommendations in specific. I know that all of the hospitals that I've seen people from in the greater Brooklyn and New York area are often very overwhelmed and don't often have specific recommendations for follow-through treatment. They need to get someone into treatment, and that's about it.
Okay, because the needs and recommendations of our own district hospitals are what I would like to prioritize versus a private provider who's coming in from outside and doesn't have a relationship with them, because we do have a dedicated psychiatric hospital in this district.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. If there are specific needs and recommendations that you're aware of, I'd be happy to see those as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Augustine?
Well, I have a question and a concern. The question is, did you try other districts for your location prior to picking CB9? And my concern is just that CB9 is already inundated with psychiatric treatment, homeless treatment, schizophrenic treatment. We have a lot of that in this district already. So I guess I need you to answer the first question.
Thank you. I am coming as a outpatient provider working in private practice in Manhattan. And when I switched gears to beginning to direct a clinic, I worked closely with consultants who specialize in these clinics throughout the city and the state to find the best location in terms of what the actual needs of the communities are. And that's where I reference the number of 6 existing clinics for outpatient services for adults, because it is a different type of service than the hospitalizations. We don't offer overnight stays. We will offer, urgent attention, but not emergency care. It's a different type of treatment. It's more in terms of providing continuous care. Even when most people are hospitalized for urgent matters, they're out within 3 days, and sometimes less than that. And so this is a very different type of treatment. But I think, let me know if I answered both of those questions. Or
no, because the question was, why did you pick CB9 district? As I said, we are inundated already with a lot of these programs for aftercare, living facilities, and hospital stay, as well as outpatient stay and residence. What made you pick CB9 as the district? What was the reason, the core reason for you choosing this district for this particular service?
Yes. Well, I do live here, and my co-director lives nearby. And so I have wanted to work in Brooklyn. I see the need here more, especially in the pandemic and what will be post-pandemic, that, having to go to outside of the community for psychological services in an ongoing way is really not as feasible as doing it in your community. And then to your second point of the existing services that are already here, again, we are offering outpatient services, so no overnight stays. This isn't about housing, offering housing or multiple days of staying in the clinic. And so I'm not aware of services in CED that are beyond the 6 that I mentioned that are offering these kinds of services.
Well, you just said you're in process of making relationships with these services that are already currently here. You don't have a relationship with them now. So I was curious to understand what ramifications you were using to come up with the decision that here was your better choice. It sounds like availability.
I think the response was with respect to the local hospitals in terms of what relationships they would develop with them. I apologize, but we do have to move. There is one last question we will take from Ms. Pinkerton, and then we're going to have to close and move on. Any further conversation?
Hi, can you hear me? Just a request. I mean, if we're voting on this tonight, the person who asked for the website address, I think that's valuable. We should be able to look at something. Could you at least put it in the Q&A or something, or just say it out loud so we could write it down? I mean, to vote on something that we haven't really had adequate, time to assess, this is not right.
Well, no, just to be very clear, this is not something that is just coming to the board. This is actually, Dr. Seisinger had actually spoken before the Health and Social Services Committee. So the request was for them to briefly present before the board. There was a conversation had in committee, and we'll be voting on that. So this is not necessarily to rehash everything, because the committee actually did have a conversation and had some of these questions. So,
well, to the point of putting the website in the comments section, is that possible? Because I think it would add a lot of value to not only the board members who didn't attend the Health and Safety Committee meeting, but also community residents that may be hearing this for the first time.
Understood, but at the same time, rather than add the distraction of people going on and checking the website, I need everybody present in terms of what we're doing right now. But if there are questions or comments, we'll have an opportunity to discuss as a board, and we will be able to, we'll see how we're going to address the issue when we get to that point during the business session. Okay, Dr. Seisinger, I want to thank you very much for coming this evening. So we will be discussing the letter of support during the business session. And we'll, if you would like to, you're definitely welcome to stay. And we will, otherwise we will let you know in terms of what the next steps will be from the board.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time this evening. Okay, we are now going to go on to the liquor license applications. So first we have Pearl Lee's Wash Tub. Well, do we have the chair for health? For the Public Safety Committee here?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I am here.
Okay, actually, I will turn it over to you to introduce the applicants for this evening.
Thank you so much. Mia, do you know who's here? Can you just give me a quick roll call who's here?
I see Mr. Agard here for, I believe it's Neat Hospitality Hibiscus Brew.
Monica Dupree is here for Pearls Lee.
Pearly Wash Tub.
Yeah.
Right.
And is Magic Hat here?
If anyone's here for Magic Hat, if you're on the phone, please raise your hand.
All right, so I'm going to quickly brief the board what happened at our meeting. Unfortunately, we did not have quorum, even though we tried to. We had confirmations beforehand. Some people didn't show up. Two of the applications were fairly straightforward. One actually was a return application. Magic Hat appeared before the board, originally asking a full liquor license, and they were denied because they are too close to I think it's a church. And they came back to the board and asked for a wine, beer, and cider license because there's no 200-foot rule if you're not serving liquor, and it's it's in-house and it's not to go, it's in a restaurant. So they returned to the board. We already approved them last time around for a full liquor, and they returned to the board, and they're asking now to resubmit their application just for a beer, wine, and cider license. The other application was also fairly straightforward. Nothing unusual about the request. I believe that their application was sent email to all board members. There was one more application, which actually was by the executive meeting last time around, and they came before it was sent to the committee. We had it's the Pearl Lee's Wash Tub LLC, and there was a in-depth discussion with this establishment. They are opening a laundromat / bar. We discussed whether or not whether there's going to be security. You're under state law, you're required to check security on the way in. Are they going to let people into the laundromat under 18 unaccompanied by an adult? And they said there's going to be a security person at the door, or a staffer at the door, not official security. We discussed how are we going to keep the kids in the laundromat from going over to the bar, whether or not there's a health issue with having, running a running laundromat with a restaurant / bar in the same room. And I guess when we vote, I'll make my recommendations, but I just wanted to quickly brief the board, on what our conversations, what conversations took place already. And let's start off with Pearl Lee's Wash Tub. Why don't we start with them?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you and see you.
Okay, great. My name is Theo Dupree. I am a recently retired registered nurse who would like to open up a laundro bar. A laundro bar is a laundromat that serves beer, wine, and food. My laundro bar would be called Pearl Lee's Wash Tub, which is a single member LLC that serves beer and wine, no hard liquor. There will also be an employee with a food prep and safety certification who will serve food such as sandwiches, burgers, and hot dogs. There will be a wall constructed to designate the bar from the laundromat area. An employee will monitor and prohibit seating to minors at the bar. You must be 21 years old to sit at the bar. There will also be seating in the outdoor area. I understand that there are concerns about serving beer and wine in a family-oriented establishment, such as a laundromat. But please take note that there are other establishments that are family-oriented, such as Dave & Buster's, Chuck E. Cheese, and bowling alleys, which are family-oriented establishments, but they do also serve beer and alcohol. My laundro bar will be no different. I will adhere to the protocol for serving beer and wine, and I just would like for you to take my request into consideration. And if there's any questions or concerns, I'm available to address those concerns.
Mr. Chair, Fred?
Yes.
I just want to request that if, when you take questions, we should only board members that have questions of you want to clarify something. This is not the time to debate the issue. If you have a position on how you want us to vote, let's save that for the business section of the meeting, and we'll debate it. Right now, it should be only questions about how many staff or whatever clarity questions, points of clarification. I do want to point out that in the initial application, I believe the business put there are going to be 2 employees, and we questioned how it's possible to monitor the door and the bar.
I have since taken your concerns into considerations, and I will have 4 employees.
No, right, and I was just going to say that the applicant submitted a updated application with 4 employees. to address these concerns. So I guess, Mr. Chair, if you want to take any points of clarifications or questions about the facility from board members, I think you should do that now.
Absolutely. And again, to the point, you can ask questions about the place. This is not the time to debate the actual question. Get the information you need to clarify so we have the information to discuss the application, and we will vote in the business session. I currently see, I see Ms. Morgan, I see Ms. Newsom, I see Ms. Pinkerton. We'll begin there. Go ahead, Ms. Morgan.
Excuse me. Yes, I think that's a great idea, and that's something that I am actually looking forward to, because when I occasionally do go to the
Mr. Morgan,
laundromat.
do you have a question? There should be questions only. Support is in the
Hello,
business.
hello? Will you have some patience and let me finish? Would you be able to do that, Mr. Yorkoff?
It's okay, Ms. Morgan, go ahead. Continue, please. Ms. Morgan, you're muted. Divya, you're muted.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's good. I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Newsom.
I just have one question. I understand you've put things into place regarding checking ID, but what is to monitor leaving the going to the bar and coming back to the laundromat? Did I not hear that?
Yes, I will have an employee monitoring entrance into the bar area by minors.
So am I able to take liquor from the bar and return to the laundromat?
No.
Okay, that's my question. And I'm sorry, and that same person standing between the spaces is going to prevent me from doing that?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Newsom, Ms. Pinkerton?
Just quickly, I know the block where you're putting it, and there is an active block association on that block, and I know they take pride, they've made a lot of planters, but I also would want to ask you, as a business owner on that block, will you take it upon yourself to kind of take care of your outside of your building, like make sure it's clean every morning as merchants used to do? Okay.
I have a cleaning service that will provide the removal of snow and debris from in front of the building. Silver Brick Management will be doing that.
Okay, perfect. Because there's a lot of pride there with the plants and everything. It would be nice to see people join the effort. So thank you.
Okay, I see Member Cheong. Suki?
Hi, you said that there's going to be a wall between the laundromat portion and the bar portion. Is that wall going to completely separate the two, or is there going to be a gap where people can pass back and forth?
Yes, there will be a gap for pass-through, correct.
Okay. And my second question to you is, if you intend to maintain the separation to the extent of having an employee to monitor people going back and forth and a physical delineation and so forth, why didn't you consider just having two separate businesses under two separate LLCs in two separate physical spaces that are next door to each other?
I'm going under the premise, as other family-oriented establishments that serve alcohol, such as Chuck E. Cheese, Dave & Buster's, and bowling alleys, where I will combine two services. Doing laundry, a lot of people leave the establishment to go elsewhere to find food and drink. I will provide food and drink in the establishment so that they do not have to leave their laundry, and they can be nearby to see that their laundry is done.
And are you going to have how are you going to prevent the food smells and the cooking smells
There will be
and the
adequate,
food from going into the laundry
there will
area.
be adequate ventilation so that the food smells will not permeate the clothing of the food.
But part of that
That's
ventilation is
the
going to be
plan.
that gap in the wall, right? So that's part of
I
where
have
it's
a
going to
plans
go.
approved by the Department of Buildings that show the ventilation system that will help eliminate any of the smell of the food to permeate. And it will only be sandwiches. There will be no major cooking.
But I see burgers on your menu. I see salmon burgers on your menu.
That is correct. That is correct.
So burgers have to be fried.
I will be using panini presses to cook the burgers.
And do you know if the health
Okay.
department permits
Suki.
food preparation in a laundromat?
Yes, it has already been reviewed and
By the health department.
There are other establishments. I believe Mia found one in, I think in Williamsburg.
That is
that
correct.
correct? That also has the laundromat / bar restaurant. This is not the first one in
No,
Brooklyn.
but I'm asking if it's been reviewed by the health department because we don't know whether or not that other
Yeah,
establishment
but Suki,
is
that's
legal
not,
either.
but Suki, that's not for you to find out.
I'm asking.
Okay.
It's
If
not
it
for you to
hasn't been, it
find
hasn't
out.
been.
It's not for you to find out, Suki.
Okay. Order of the day. Order of the day.
Discuss it in the business
So, Mr.
section.
Dupree, the answer to that question was what? Has the health department reviewed?
No, I have not had the health department review it, but I am going by the health department guidelines, such as providing adequate ventilation where the food smells would not permeate any of the clothing.
Okay.
Thank you for the answer. All right, Suki. Okay, so now Augustine, I see you, and I do see an attendee. 5698. If you could promote them as well, please, Dante or Mia or Khalid. Augustine, go ahead.
My question is, are you going to have separate restrooms, or is there going to be one restroom utilized for both businesses? And if so, on what side will it be located?
The restroom will be located on the laundromat side.
Thank you.
All right, I see a question from 5698, and we're probably going to close on that because we do need to move on the agenda.
$56.98 should be good to speak.
Caller with phone number ending in 5698. You should have been promoted. You should be able to speak. You can ask your question. Ms. Williams.
Yes, Ms. Williams.
Did you have a question?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
we
do
can
have
hear
a question. My question to the gentleman is that how is he going to be able to prevent if someone goes to the bar and buy liquor, drink liquor, maybe a little bit too much, I'm putting it very mildly, and then goes back to the laundry room where there's a discrepancy with maybe someone either take out their laundry or stop the machine or do something because that person have a little bit too much to drink. How is he going to be able to control that? Because these are things that will and can happen. And I don't see why, as Suki just said, why couldn't they have two separate businesses instead of bringing this into the community where you have the hospitals are out there, there are places here that people, you just talk about mental health. And now you want to bring a laundry with a bar and a restaurant right in one. Why is it not have two different businesses and have them separate so that there's no problem? Or no intending problem later on. Because having one person just to monitor going from the bar back to the thing could happen. This is something that I think the board should vote against.
Ms. Williams, okay, let him ask the direct question. The debate part of it will happen during business session. So your question was with respect to, I'm sorry again?
My question?
Yes, the question was for the applicant.
Right. How is he going to prevent an accident from happening or anything that happens if this person goes to the bar and take a drink or two and then comes back to the laundry room and for some reason something happened and things get out of hand? What is he plan? How does he plan to handle that?
Okay, so Mr. Dupree, what's your plan for inebriated patrons? I'm sorry, you're still on mute.
It's like a security question, actually.
Yeah, Mr. Dupree. Oh,
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Can't hear you.
Bartenders are supposed to monitor the the patrons that they serve for any signs of intoxication. And if those signs are present, they will stop serving those patrons that are consuming the beer and the wine. Second, I will also have another employee who is monitoring the patrons that flow between the laundromat and the bar. And if there's some assistance with those patrons needed to operate the machines, someone will be available to assist them.
Another quick question: why couldn't you just have two separate business instead of just one? Why is it? What is the urgency to have this two-in-one business instead of having?
It is not cost effective for me to have two separate businesses. It is cost effective for me to have.
So the community could suffer behind that later on.
Ms. Williams, let him answer your question. The debate will happen during the business session. Okay, that'll be the conversation of the board.
Yes.
Mr. Dupree, go ahead. What was your answer? I'm sorry.
It's not cost effective for me to have two separate businesses.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Williams, I'm sorry. Mr. Dupree, thank you very much. We are going to review your application during the business session. You are more than welcome to stay if you would like. Otherwise, the board will be in contact with regards to the next steps after that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Chair Berman.
Yeah, is Magic Hat here? All right, let's move on to Neat Rules Hospitality Group. Just very briefly, 60 seconds. Tell us about where you're located, your hours of operation, and what you're hoping to. You want a lot of support, so what you're hoping to. A little bit about your facility, about your establishment.
All right. Good evening. My name is Patrick Higard, and I'm representing Neat Rules Hospitality Group. It's located at 546 Flatbush Avenue. It's very close to the corner of Lincoln Road. It's a small little unique type of shop. I like to refer to it as a type of Starbucks, but with a more home and very comfortable feeling. They serve smoothies and a very light menu, and the alcohol they're looking to serve is not necessarily to serve the patrons. It's really to serve with their smoothies and to infuse them to give them a little bit more flavor and taste. That's really the outtake on that. Other than that, it's a very simple place, very nicely laid out, and the smoothies are very good there.
All right. Thank you so much. Questions, and we could move on the agenda.
Okay, Ms. Morgan, I see your hand raised. Is this for this applicant?
Actually, I just wanted to finish my thought before I was rudely interrupted. I just wanted to ask, I was getting to it to find out, is there a minimum, a drink minimum for that laundry bar? You know what I mean? So that was the point that I was trying to get to. It's a great idea, but I wanted to find out if there's a minimum, like do you have 2 drinks or so? That was what I was trying to get to before I was interrupted. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. 2 seconds, Mr. Brewer. Go ahead.
Yeah, there is no drink minimum. I will also provide soft drinks such as lemonade and iced tea. And it's just beer and wine, no hard liquor, no whiskey, no vodka, no hard liquor, just beer and wine. That's all to the extent of the alcohol that will be served, in addition to soft drinks. And no minimum drink needed to enter the bar.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Dupree.
Thank you so
And I'll remind
much.
the members, and I would remind the members of the board, when we moved on to the agenda, please, to make sure the agenda flows, make sure you put your hands down. We need to make sure that we're staying on the item in question at that time. Are there any questions with respect to the current applicant, which was, I'm sorry, NEAT? Was it NEAT?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, so are there any questions for the applicant for NEAT Rules Hospitality Group? Call a second time. Are there any questions?
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
A little bit better, yes, thank you.
Okay, all right, seeing none, thank you very much to the applicant. Again, so you are welcome to stay for the meeting. We are going to discuss your application during the business session, and after which we will advise what the actions of the board are going to be after that. Yakov, is there any, I think Magic Hat was the last one. Is there a representative here? Can we call one final time?
There's not one here, but again, I want to reiterate, they were here and they presented in front of the full board already and got approval for a full liquor. So I don't really think it's a need to hear them come again. And we already heard them, once before, and they came in front of our committee as well. So I think we can move on.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair Berman. All right, we're going to move on in the agenda. We are now going to go on to public commentary. Dante, Mia, Khalid, is there anyone who signed up for public commentary for this evening?
Let's see. Hi, so far, at least I understand that Ms. Maxine Barnes did sign up for public commentary today.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Just take a quick note. All right, so we have Ms. Barnes has signed. And if there are any other members of the public who wish to speak at this time, please raise your hands and we will recognize you and promote you to the queue. At this time, well, hold on, I see Ms. Morgan, did you want to speak in public commentary?
Yes, can I just say it now? We're hosting a daffodil project on Saturday, a planting project. So we're asking members of the board and the community to come out and plant daffodils at Wingate Park from 12 to 3 p.m. That's all I wanted to say. And I hope to see some of you out there at Wingate Park to help us plant daffodils, okay?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Morgan. Ms. Barnes, we have you. Can you promote Ms. Barnes? Is she on?
Hello? Justin, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I already voiced the community and my concern about the alleged community center, the Bedford Armory. I would like to just add to that it's very important that our community never forget what has happened at that armory, this unaffordable farce, especially at the polls. Never forget, community. Moving on, it is certainly not a community center, and it just drives me crazy every time that is said. That is keywords, catchwords. It is not a community center. It has no after-school programming, no music, no art, no senior citizen center, no anything. Anyway, aside from that, in terms of the Grow New York City pop-up that was outside of Associate, it was well attended. My flyer, a lot of community came out and participated. My question is, do we have any resources or power to have the developer owner open up that parking lot and let the Grow New York City and even the planned holiday pop-up be inside of the parking lot of Associate. Because what has happened in retrospect is it's starting to become a dumping ground. And if the community sees that it is vital and vibrant and it is used for good, that wouldn't happen. Trying to make it to the point. Can we have the developer owner open up that parking lot on Fridays for Grow New York City and for the proposed in planning of the holiday pop-up?
The short answer would be no. It's a private property, so we can't force him to do anything.
I know you can't force them, but you could ask. You have some sort of communication or some sort of power in the community. As a community board, you could
Well,
ask.
that's a different question.
Okay,
Well, that's a different
let me
question.
ask.
Yes, we can ask.
Could you ask?
Yes, we can ask.
Thank you.
Is that done? You're done with your public commentary? Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Barnes. Are there any other members of the community who would like to speak at this time for public commentary? All right. Seeing none. Oh, hold on. So hand go last. Ms. Westerdahl. Yes, you can. Please promote Ms. Westerdahl. She can speak for the public commentary.
Hi, I'm vice chair of the environmental committee, and Christian LeBeau asked me to let the community know what was happening with us. Can I speak about that now?
Is this a report for the committee?
It's a little bit of a report, yeah. Can I do that or not? No.
This is right now. No, this is really public commentary at this time. The report
Okay,
section.
so I'll make my own commentary about a couple of things. Oh, you added me as a panelist. I wasn't expecting that, but that's okay. I just wanted to say that with the recent rain and with sanitation, like we had some problems in our neighborhood, and I know other neighborhoods with sanitation not being able to come through because cars are left. They're only doing alternate side twice a week now. And with the leaves falling, it's causing a big problem in all the neighborhoods because sanitation can't get through because the cars are there. And nobody's moving their cars because they haven't been ticketed in so long. So we have sanitation coming only twice a week with their cleaning trucks and going down the middle of the street with the sweepers. So now all of our catch basins, our sewer system is blocked, and then we have more flooding in the neighborhood. So I would like to see more done about that. Ticketing, car movement, sweeping, just basic cleanliness, like we were talking, like with more garbage cans. I think I would like to also suggest that we have in some neighborhoods try a campaign where we have, especially in front of the bigger apartment buildings. They do this in European countries. They have big enclosed dumpsters in various neighborhoods with apartment buildings, and everybody puts their trash in there instead of in the plastic bags where it's blowing around. Rats are getting in. We have a big problem with rats. And then the garbage is taken from the dumpsters, especially with apartment buildings and with potential development coming. I know Ebbets Field, it's not contained. And a new development on my street, it's not contained, and it attracts a lot of rats. It smells bad. It's a problem. So I would like to see the community board make a move toward developing a trash bin program for apartment buildings, to like the big ones. take some space in the street. Maybe people won't like that about with their cars, but
Of course not.
so, but you know, I think it needs to happen. And buildings that are being developed, they need some kind of containment system going forward. So that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Westerdahl. And to your point, I think you're on the Environmental Protection Committee, and these are conversations that I'm happy to say have already started on that level as well. And we look forward to continued participation. And I'll put that PSA out there, the Environmental Protection Committee. I can't recall the specific day, but they're already starting to address issues like that. And yes, I mean, these are definitely issues with respect to the catch basins, with overall cleanliness, with garbage. And anyone who has any complaints or any issues, please make sure to communicate those to our district office. The district office team is phenomenal. They take those and they have that liaison with the appropriate agencies to try and get things done as fast as possible. But again, thank you for your comments. Dante, Mia, Khalid, do you see anyone else who signed up for public commentary? Or anyone else who's raised their hand for public commentary this time?
We have board members, Pinkerton and Naomi Baptiste with their hands up.
Okay, Ms. Pinkerton, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I just want to go back to Maxine Barnes for a moment. I was going to say, and you suggested it, it's not so much of a demand that somebody does something, but it's more of a negotiation and a request. And whether it's Dante or the chairperson, Fred, I mean, we have all the representatives from our districts, all that attend this meeting all the time. And I think that, you know, to have a liaison speak saying we would really like this, it would benefit the community. We need to have outreach to these representatives for our representatives. I hope that both of you or one of you would certainly rise to the occasion and do that, because I think it's more power when it comes from you than just maybe a community member leaving a voicemail on 311 or somebody's office. So I put that task to you. And then to the person who just spoke, I'm sorry, I missed her name. I'm just curious, Dante, like we had some follow-up actions from the last month's meeting, and I don't know, they don't appear necessarily on the agenda. We just have a boilerplate agenda. And I'm just thinking this is a definite follow-up, you know, the thing about the sanitation, the thing about Associate Supermarket. These should be listed on our agenda for the following meeting, so we know that this is a discussion point. Well, let's find out what happened, what was the progress, what was made, what needs to be done. You know, it's just kind of, it helps move things along. If they're not mentioned, not listed, and they're just kind of discussed and forgot about, not much happens. So I would just put that out there, that that's a best practice, and we should definitely do both of those action items. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Pinkerton. Ms. Baptiste, did you want to speak during public commentary as well, or?
Yes, good evening, all. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Good evening to everyone on the call. Good evening. I was just had a question. Okay, give me a second. I have a question in regards to the garbage cans, because I live on President between Troy and Schenectady. That's where I live. And I remember years ago, used to be a garbage can on every corner. There's maybe a very bare minimal garbage cans in my area. So I know that when you don't see a garbage can, it makes people litter because they don't have nowhere to put their garbage. So what can we do as a board to try to get some more garbage cans or sanitation actions in different parts of Crown Heights? Because everywhere is not the same. Some places have more garbage cans than others. So I wanted to know how to figure out.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Some of the conversation, as I said before, has started in environmental protection. So they're doing some work with respect to that. So that might be a committee you might want to pop into every once in a while, because I think there's some good conversations happening that you might be able to contribute to. But also for general service issues, always please, I'll say this, I should just get a billboard. Always contact the district office because if there's service issues, or if you see sites that you might want to recommend for garbage cans, if there's a dearth, or if you particularly see litter, that's how we can affect that, where now that they know, they can actually have conversations with the Department of Sanitation, and we can see what we can do in terms of either they supply it. We just before this meeting, we actually had our budget request hearing. So one of them was for additional garbage cans as well. So that conversation is actually happening as we speak as well. But thank you very much for your comment. Okay. All right. Okay. Are there any other persons for public commentary at this time? All right, Vivian, I see you, but you've already spoken, so we're not gonna, we typically don't allow twice in terms of that. Ms. Westerdahl, I see your hand up as well. I'm not sure if you want to speak again, but typically we only allow one to speak one time during the meeting. So with that, we are actually going to close the public commentary. I want to thank everyone for your comments. And again, if there are any issues, I absolutely recommend, please, for service issues, contact the district office. Or if you have something particularly you want discussed at length, the committee schedule will be up. And you can go to the respective committee and bring these things up, and that's how we develop things. That allows for more in-depth conversations where we can discuss the issues more thoroughly. All right, but I thank everyone again for your comments. At this time, we're going to move in the agenda. We're going to go to acknowledgements. Dante, Mia, do we have any elected officials with us this evening, or their representatives? Or if you are an elected official or a representative, please raise your hand so we can acknowledge you.
You will? I'm working the wrong way.
No hands raised.
No hands raised? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. So speeding right along, we are now going to go into our business session. Mia, are you prepared? Will you be able to call the roll?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
All right. Kyrie Aline. Nicholas Almanor.
Present.
Stuart Balberg. Stuart Balberg. Fred Baptiste. Naomi Baptiste.
Present.
John Beckles Jr. Rabbi Yaakov Berman. Rabbi Yaakov Berman. Warren Burke.
Here.
Augustine Blackwell.
Present.
Suki Chung.
Present.
Verlene Dozier. Rosemarie Evering. Tessa Hackett Vieira. Tessa Hackett Vieira.
Here.
Bishop Hamilton Gonzalez.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sloma Zalman Heck. Primo Lasana.
Here.
Mina Lagute.
Here.
Francisca Leopold. Francisca Leopold.
Mia Berman is here.
Thank you. Francisca Leopold. Melanie Lewis. Melanie Lewis. Matthias Limburger.
Here.
Thank you. Christian LeBeau. Manaka Margolin.
Here. Present.
Thank you. Carmen Martinez.
Here.
Thank you. Vivian Morgan,
Here, thank you, Mia.
welcome. Thank you. Pat Moses,
Hello.
Pat Moses,
Yeah.
thank you.
Hello,
Francis,
Mia.
I hear you,
Hi,
Francis.
this is Felice. I don't know if you called my name, but I'm going in and out.
Hello.
Francisca, I heard you. Thank you.
Hello?
Okay, and Rosemary
Police, thank
you. Also, but she's
You
trying
can
to
hear
log.
me? Because I'm
She can hear.
going in
She
and
can
out.
hear. So
I can hear
on.
both of you. Thank
Oh,
you.
man.
Thank you.
I can hear
Oh,
you
you
both.
did hear me?
Yes,
All
I
right.
can. Thank you.
Okay, order, please. Let's wait.
Beverly
Let's let Mia
Newsom,
finish the roll.
Present.
thank you. Yankee Pearson. Yankee Pearson,
Yes, present.
thank you. Real Peerbones,
Here.
Amy Pinkerton,
Here.
Yanela Rome Perry,
Here.
Dexter Roberts.
Here, present.
I got Felice Mary Rollison Blackett, absent. Melissa Severe,
Present.
thank you. Rashida Sadiq,
Here.
thank you. Kanina Sperling, Rashida Sykes,
Here. Here.
Debbie Timothy, Linda Watson Lord,
Present, thank you, Mia.
thank you. Miss Williams,
Here.
Lori Ann Mosley,
Here.
Cheryl Wright,
Present.
thank you. Give me one moment to tabulate the roll.
Actually, could you call some of the names that were absent? Because I do see a few of them on there. If you could just
Sure,
confirm.
Kyrie Aline, Stuart Balber, John Beckles Jr., Berlene Dozier, Rosemary Evering, Sloma Zalman Heck, Melanie Lewis,
Mia,
yes,
this is Rosemary Evering.
thank you. Melanie Lewis, Christian LeBeau, Mary Rollison Blackett, Kanina Sperling, and Debbie Timothy. We have 32 members present, and we have quorum.
Thank you very much, Mia. All right, with a quorum present, we will now move on to item B of the agenda, approval of the corrected June 2021 General Board meeting minutes. Are there any questions? Any questions or further amendments to be made to the meeting minutes? Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion at this time for the board to approve the corrected minutes. We're going to do by voice vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes as corrected, please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Are there any nays? Although, are there any nays? Are there any abstentions? I hear all in favor. Please note for the record, the minutes are approved as corrected. Moving on to item C, we're going to go on to the approval of the September 21. Of the September 21 General Board meeting minutes. At this time, are there any corrections to be made to the minutes?
I don't see that I was listed as being absent. This is Mina.
You were absent for the, okay. An honest board member, I like that. Okay, that's noted for the record. Are there any other corrections that need to be made to the minutes at this time? Okay. At this time, we will vote to approve the minutes. I call all those in favor of approving the minutes for September 2021 with the said correction for Minor Lagute, please say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Please say nay. Hear no opposition. Are there any abstentions? And I hear no abstentions. Please note for the record, the minutes are approved, all board members. Okay, we are now going to go to item D, the district office report. Mr. District Manager, do you have a report for the board at this time?
Yes, give me 1 second. All right, thank you. I will be brief. So I just wanted to reiterate, the district office is open by appointment only. So if you need to come by the district office or you have referred someone to the district office, please have them either call or email, whatever's easiest for them. Call the district office to schedule an appointment so we can see them. Next thing I have to report is that I guess since starting the position, there have been questions surrounding the fire that happened at 183 Empire Boulevard at the old Strauss Autos. I did inquire with FDNY regarding that fire. So if you are interested in the incident report that was issued by FDNY, reach out to the board office with that request, and I have no reservations sending that to you. In the coming weeks, a budget request letter will go out to committees. This is really a budget request letter and kind of a template for committees to use in their preparation for any types of events that they may be planning. And so we're still working out some of the kinks of the budget request letter, but committees just be looking for that. Once you get the letter, it's pretty standard, pretty straightforward. Please submit those budget request letters well in advance of whatever it is that you're planning. And all of that information will be clearly explained on the letter when you receive it. Let's see. If you have any final items that you would like to be submitted in the district needs statement, please have them emailed, preferably, to the board office no later than close of business 5 p.m. tomorrow. That will allow me enough time to go through the report, look for grammatical errors, and clean up the report before I officially submit it on behalf of CB9 to Department of City Planning. Let's see, the next thing, we just did the hearing, so that's that. The next thing is I'm in the process, I've been working with Do It, Khalid and I have been working with Do It to create a new website. So if you have any suggestions about the type of information that you believe would be beneficial on the website, please email me those suggestions. I will look over the suggestions. I will have those conversations with Do It to see if we can get that information up on the website. Putting information on the website is extremely bureaucratic. There's a lot of laws that we have to follow, so not all information can go up on the website. So please send me those suggestions. I'll run it through Do It, and we'll see if that information passes all the criteria to be able to go up on the website. And then one of the last things that I just wanted to mention before I talk about some issues is last year, at the end of the fiscal year, we had large expenditures, the trash cans that many of you have been bringing up. those types of expenditures aren't going to happen this year and probably long after due to the fact that there's a full-time district manager on the payroll. So you're not going to see those type of expenditures coming from the board this fiscal year. With that being said, I want to encourage all of the committees as you plan, if you're able to get specifics about X, Y, and Z costs for whatever it is that you're requesting. Once I see that proposal, that will allow me to look at our office budget and then move some money around, hopefully, if we have enough to be able to accommodate whatever your request is. Not all requests are guaranteed. It really just kind of depends on when you get those requests in and if we're able to move funds within the budget to accommodate the endeavors of the committees. The last thing I wanted to talk about, which was actually brought up earlier, I believe by board member Pinkerton, in the last general board meeting last month, I believe it was Ms. Westerdahl who had brought up that there is broken glass on Empire Boulevard between Bedford and Rogers Avenues. I just wanted to inform you all that I did reach out to DSNY, and I do have a response which I relayed at the executive committee meeting last week. I'm just going to essentially read it verbatim. So I did inquire with DSNY regarding the glass. DSNY is able to clean up some locations when we send over certain requests, but that completely depends on the resources that they have at the given time that the request was sent. Sometimes, well, at least speaking to DSNY, it can be rather difficult to get resources from all over the place, so they're really stuck with standard resources. So whenever those requests if it come in, whenever I send those over to DSNY, depending on the resources that they have, they will be able to address those. Regardless of the situations, please, don't hesitate to send any issues to the district office, and I will bring them up with the appropriate agency. Another issue that was brought up last general board meeting was the trash that was left out overnight at the Utica and Eastern Parkway. I presume it was maybe in the island there, along with the congestion at that location. Superintendent Rice informed me that sometimes what happens is that MTA puts their bags out because they have their own collection. They do their collection on their own. And so you might see extensive amount of trash that obviously some of the businesses and then also the MTA. If it continues to be a problem, if anyone on this call, if you're in that area, when you see it, take a picture and send it to the board office so I can reach back out to DSNY to have the issue addressed. If this is something that's ongoing, it's important that we start these conversations early, so people aren't conditioned and think that they can just leave trash wherever that they want. So if you see issues in the district, no matter what they are, if you can take a picture, that would be extremely helpful. But send the information to the district office with as much detail as possible, and I will make sure that I send it over to the appropriate agency.
Okay, thank you very much, Dante. At this time, we want to take in a couple of questions from the members of the board for the district manager at this time. Okay, I see Mr. Aline. Actually, if you can also, Mia, please check off Kyrie for our attendance.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone, and my apologies. So this entire time I've been on the call, but I've been in the call-in feature. So every time I thought I was chiming in, it's not until Mia first called out for a roll and said present. I said present, my name was first. And when she doubled back, I noticed that if I call in without calling in on Zoom, I'm not being heard. So I didn't even notice this happened last meeting. So I just got home, got to my computer, I'm calling in, and I apologize for that, but I've been present the whole time, and hello, and I'm here. Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. All right, Ms. Pinkerton, you have a question for Dante?
Yeah, I have two questions. So one is regarding the website. I do go to other district offices' websites, and I find that they're pretty informative. They have a lot of information about community issues that people would generally want to know. And they're very easy to read, and you get to the homepage, and there's a lot of information there. So my question to you, hopefully, is that you're not only just waiting for people to give you input, but that you're doing, some research and you're developing ideas for the website. And if you're doing this, I'm hoping before it goes final or before some sort of just pull the trigger moment, you have an unveiling and we have a meeting that maybe you could present ideas about the revamp of the website to the board and to maybe the community. And that will kind of generate some ideas in that regard. And then the second part was about the budget. And over the course of the last 2 years, we did have more funds available because we didn't have a district manager, but that was in addition to funds that the board had. It wasn't the total sum of excess funds, that were not used for a salary. So my question to you is, isn't it possible to give the board members some sort of estimate of how much might be available? I mean, it's very veiled as far as any money being available to any committee or any board member. And I just find that, I don't know, just not very transparent. You should have an idea of how much the board has to spend in the community through the committees. And I just think that it would be fair, whether it's an exact amount or a range, something can be presented rather than some sort of vagueness that's saying, we'll submit your request and we'll see what we can do. So those are the two observations I have, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Pinkerton.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
Ms.
gonna answer.
Newsom?
Okay. I'm answering that question, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you have an answer, you can answer it. I'm not stopping you, so thank you.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. I'll go ahead and answer. So yes, so what I can do is next general board, because I don't have the financial management system opened up in front of me right now. I can definitely get a range. I think a range would be more realistic than an exact number, just because some things are encumbered and some things we pay on a monthly basis. But I can definitely get a range to let the board know, okay, this is kind of where we're at. Yes, I can definitely do that for you. So there's more clarity with that. And then in terms of the website, definitely, I hear your suggestion. I like the suggestion. To comment, yes, Khalid and I have actually already been building out the website. So there's a shell that's sitting somewhere in the tech world that has content that we want to put on it. So it's almost finished, but here I am asking for the suggestions. So, once we get all the suggestions, all the information can be vetted on the website to ensure that it's clear. And then, if I heard your suggestion about the unveiling, so that's something I will take into consideration.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Thank you for your question. I think you
Okay,
called Beverly, right?
Yeah, hold on. Just because we do have to move on, I can't take too many. So I have Warren, I have Augustine.
And you have me, Fred. Beverly.
Well, after you. No, I thought I called you. So Beverly, then Warren, then Augustine. I'm sorry. But go ahead, Beverly. I'm sorry.
Hey, yes, thank you. Dante, are you saying that because we now have a full-time district manager, that we don't have a lot of excess in our budget to do community things outside of small events for committees? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that you don't have the same amount of excess as you did before my arrival. So I don't have the specific language in front of me, so I'm not going to tell you one way or the other, but there's a very small clause in the city charter that talks about how money can move from one unit of appropriation to another.
Yes.
And so since we're a very small government agency, $50,000 is larger than the 5% that larger agencies can move from one appropriation to another. So 50,000 is our max, whereas other agencies can move 5%. With that being said, do the math. Some of these agencies, like the Department of Finance, have $100 million budget. So 5% is far more for them to be able to move. So, it's just extremely bureaucratic, but to answer your question, you're not gonna have the same amount of excess funds as you had before. And we ran into the we ran into the statute last year in terms of, okay, since you have a small budget, 50,000 is your max that you can move from one unit of appropriation to the other for one fiscal year.
Okay, so the purchasing of additional trash cans, which is the big thing right now, because last week as we were walking down Rogers, walking down Bedford, trash is everywhere. We're clear, just like someone said earlier, people are dropping trash where it is because you go on multiple blocks without a garbage can. So you call that a big ticket item. That's what you called it.
Mm-hmm.
Even need does not warrant additional funding.
Okay, so
in that respect?
Understood. So the type of funding that you're talking about is funding that's going to come from agencies itself. So the community, Brooklyn Community Board does not nearly have the budget as some of these other agencies. So what we would, I'm speaking as the district manager, what I think would happen is that these concerns are brought up in committee. There's dialogue and discussion, and then someone, whoever it may be, which I think that they already did, submits it to us to put in the district needs statement, which they have. And so as we continue on throughout the year, committee meets, it's important to have these discussions, and it's important to keep that dialogue.
And I'm going, and sorry to interrupt you, but I'm going to end it here, because us struggling with the garbage cans, along with your mentioning DSNY is also on a tight budget. That combination right there is for disaster. Okay. So that's why I'm asking this question. Okay. Thank you, Dante.
Thank you for your question.
You're welcome.
Okay, Warren.
Hi, everybody. It's Warren. I have other issues, but not issues, but statements. But I just wanted to piggyback on what Dante said. This whole thing with committees is that we don't have money in our budget for committees to do certain things. Distinctly, the only thing we can do for committees under the city charter is to buy water, supplies, etc. So in terms of anything external to what we're limited to buying, that's really something that the committees have to take a look at, and how do they fundraise. Fortunately, for the last 2 events we've done, we've been able to acquire private fundraising for it, but there's no slack, or there's no extra money, because even if there is money, we can't spend it. So I wanted to make that very, very clear. The next thing is, I just want, Dante, did you speak about the food market?
I did not. I presumed that the chair would speak about it in his report.
Oh, okay. So I'll wait for that. And the last thing is, could you just define "do it" to the members, what it is?
Oh, do it, the Department of Information Technology and Telecommunication for the City of New York.
And what do they do for us?
Okay, so do it. So they take care of our technological needs. If it's not outsourced. So for example, the website that we are working on and we currently have, that's monitored by Do It. They help us create those things. If there's technological issues that are happening in the district office itself, we're able to call people within Do It, and then they can usually either send a representative or remote into our computers and fix whatever issue is there. But they do other things, in terms of out in the community. For the board office itself, they kind of handle those technological things.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, thank you.
All right, Augustine.
Hi, Dante, I just wanted to reiterate what I said earlier about promotion of available jobs. I know we've always listed, city exams, most city positions requiring exams. There are some that don't. but in the past 19 months, the demographics have really changed in this city, and the promotion of the available positions that are open is required and needs to be spread, and it'll help solve some of these issues that we are currently addressed with. So if it's at anyway feasible for the office to like find out where these agencies are with promoting jobs and how they're doing it, and can we help promote and list and share with our community, is a concern of mine. So I'm asking we try and push this.
Okay, I understand. Okay, I understand. Thank you. Yeah, I can reach out to the agencies. I can reach out to the agencies to see if there's like flyers for employment. And I'll see what the response is and we'll work from there. Thank you. All right, I originally said we were gonna close on Augustine. Debbie, you are the last one. If I see another hand, you're the last one, Debbie.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So my question is pertaining to trash cans. I keep hearing trash cans, trash cans, trash cans. What type of discussion is being had with sanitation in terms of getting some trash cans for our communities? I mean, I think it's important that we have dialogue with the commissioner or whoever their representative is in terms of getting trash cans in Manhattan. These are the things that they're doing. So I don't know what we are doing in Brooklyn, that we have to be spending our resources that should be spent on, things in our community, such as programs and stuff like that, and spending on trash cans. So that's my question.
So right now there hasn't been direct dialogue with DSNY in regards to, okay, let's get certain types of trash cans. What we're looking to do, and which we're at the end of the process now, which is fine, is, with this budget needs statement, a lot of people have weighed in regarding the trash cans, which has been really nice. They've also not only weighed in about getting trash cans in terms of amount, but also where those trash cans need to be located. And so as I have these meetings with DSNY, with the district service cabinet, once we finalize the district needs statement, this is, in written form, what I plan to use to be able to have those discussions moving forward with each respective agency.
Okay, and can we make sure that they're rat-proof trash cans? Be specific about that. Thank you.
Noted.
The community is bombarded with rats.
Yes, that is true. Okay.
Okay, thank you
I
very
just
much.
want to say one quick thing and then I'm out. I'm finished. In regards to budgetary things for the committees, as I mentioned before, a budget request letter will be going out in the coming weeks. On that letter itself, it gives you an idea of what the board can and cannot purchase. So you should have some clear indication of, okay, this is what we can actually do, this is what we can't do. So when you get that, please read over that letter. And once you get the letter, if you have any specific questions about can we buy a certain service or commodity, send that to the board office, and I have no reservations of explaining why or why not we can make such purchase. That's all.
Okay, thank you very much, Dante. All right, okay, we're gonna move on. Actually, this was not on the agenda, but very, very briefly. Typically, we would have committee reports where the committees would report out. The expectation is for all the committee chairs and for all the committees is that they will provide the minutes for each of their committees, their respective committees, so that way the board can review them. We want to make sure we're being more efficient and effective with the time, so the board members should have that information in advance. When we get to this point in the actual meetings, only top level, like everybody needs to know this because this is going to be immediate kind of items need to be discussed now, along with something that's a voting item that's going to be coming before the board as part of the voting session. So with that being said, are there any committee chairs that have an important announcement or something very, very, quickly that they need to discuss, to let the board know? Comments need to be 60 seconds or less.
Yes, it's Warren. I'm starting my timer, okay? We had an EDC meeting the other night. One of the things that we'd like to reinstitute is a holiday event to help the local merchants, contractors, and of course, restaurants. We had very poor attendance. Shop local to implement a pop-up or any other activity. It takes a lot of manpower. So for our committee members, you should attend. Our resident members should attend. But as important, any board members who want to do this and participate, please send this to the board office, because if we don't have the manpower, we can't undertake it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for setting the precedent there. Very, very brief and concise. I also see our education chair, Melanie Lewis. Ms. Lewis? Oh,
can't hear you,
your
Melanie.
phone is on mute.
No.
No.
Okay, now?
Yeah.
Now we
Oh,
got.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Just quickly, I just wanted to make everyone aware that the specialized high school admissions test has the registration deadline of September 15th. And I just wanted to quickly say that, make sure you attend our meeting on November 7th at 7:00 p.m. so you could get more important updates from our education happening in and around our city and our community. Thank you and have a great evening.
Melanie, what is that registration deadline again? She really followed the letter of the law there. Okay.
Can she repeat that? I didn't get it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Melanie, still there? Okay, the specialized high school exam, this is what I did get, is that there is a...
Can you all hear, if you all can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
If you could just repeat that very briefly. Yeah, Melanie, could you give us the registration deadline again? And yeah, Melanie, we can't hear you. Okay. All right. So so if Melanie is able to come back on, we'll definitely recognize her and let her give that piece as well. Are there any other chairs who have anything to share very, very briefly with the board?
I would. This is Teresa Westerdahl. I'm the Environmental Protection Vice Chair, and I'd like to give a long report, but I won't. One thing I would love to mention is that the Rat Academy, I don't know if anybody's attended that, but New York City presents has a Rat Academy, and it's a pretty good seminar, and everyone on the community board should attend, and I assume they have, probably not though, and it's tomorrow. So you could sign up for that. I've attended, I may attend again, but it is extremely educational, and you have to attend the meeting. They don't have a video or anything you could watch. So I highly recommend that. I'd post a link, but there's no way I can do that. So just look up NYC Rat Academy, folks. And we can maybe help get rid of the rats together.
Thanks. And if you could please give that information to the district office, so anybody who's interested in getting that as well can just contact the district office and they'll provide that link as well. Thank you very much, Ms. Westerdahl. Okay, all right. We are now going to move on to the next item in the agenda, Chairman's report. I will try and keep this brief, but I also don't want to sell short the amazing work that this board has done over the last couple of months. I'm sorry, let me just bring up some notes very quickly. First of all, Earlier this month, we had our wellness fair, and I really want to thank our Health and Social Services Chair, Francisca Leopold, and her team, and the board members, and the volunteers, and NYPD, and all the people who really made it an overwhelming success. It was really a fantastic way for us to start off, in terms of activity, our year. It was well attended. We were able to give out hundreds of meals. We were able to give out fresh produce. We were able to give out turkeys. We were able to give out just a whole lot of things that basically made a difference in a lot of lives in our district. We had organizations there. We had La Sante Medical Center. We had FDNY there. We had One Health Brooklyn there. We had, I want to stop because I'm going to run the risk of really offending somebody by forgetting them, but there were just so many wonderful agencies that were there. It was a phenomenal event, something that truly we should be proud of as a board. This board made it happen. So I want to thank all those who participated again. And following up on that success, we came back on Friday the 22nd. We had the grand opening of the farm stand. The farm stand is a collaborative effort between Community Board 9, Brooklyn Borough Hall, Majority Leader Cumbo's office, along with State Senators Zelma Myrie and Diana Richardson. This is really something that was birthed out of the crisis that has really started around, there's been, intensified around food insecurity in our district. We know that there have been people who have been marching, who have been protesting. There's been a conversation that started. This is something that as a board we took very seriously. We were able to work with partners to try and bring this farm stand here and bring it to fruition. We understand definitely that this is not going to solve the loss of a supermarket. The loss of the Associated was a great blow. That means that there's just a lot of disruption that happens in the lives of a lot of our residents, some of them very vulnerable as well. But what this does is hopefully it brings back a piece in terms of it brings fresh produce into the district in a location that is very familiar, that is accessible to a lot of good, people, number of the patrons who went to the Associated previously. And we're not done. So we're trying to find ways to expand that initiative. We're trying to find ways to make it better, to talk about food education. We're also looking at ways to see if we can also further mitigate the impact of the Associated being gone, between working with other supermarkets or other, with other vendors who are in the area, to see what we can do with respect to helping our people. And then again, to a larger question of food insecurity. We need to be proactive about this as well. So this is a dialogue that has started, but I want to at least say, I just want to say that we have taken that very important first step with this farm stand. The farm stand goes from 9 to 3 every Friday. We'll be continuing on through December. Flyers are available. We recommend highly tell friends, tell residents, tell neighbors. There are definitely incentives involved with it as well. If you have a child who is in school, last year they gave out cards, EBT cards, because kids who weren't in school, you can use those and actually get money back. Or with respect, you can actually get, you can get coupons for additional food to make your dollars go further. Similarly, they also have similar kinds of coupons that they give for seniors as well, make the food dollar go longer. But again, I just want to say phenomenal work, and we look forward to doing even more. I want to say that I'm very happy that we've got our committees finally stood up, and I think it's very critical that we understand. I feel the energy. I see, from when we had our budget hearing, from the conversations that we're having, from commentary, from the board members, that we are excited and really trying to get work done. So I really want to push the fact that we are limited in terms of the time we have at our general board meetings. The committees are where it happens. So I would just ask to make sure that everyone attends their respective committees. And even beyond that, if you have a committee where you have an interest, or if you have a particular issue that you'd like to have addressed, to stop by those committees, because that's where it happens, where they can start the dialogue. If it's a policy matter, they can develop what the policy should be that the board can discuss. If it's a service matter, that can be discussed there and also referred to the district office where they can tackle it. They've proven themselves more than capable of doing these things. But once again, I just want to say they're very proud of that. With respect to that, though, I also need to make the mention that we are going to be starting to monitor attendance. We understand that there's been some growing pains in terms of us getting set for the year, but we want to make sure that everybody understands very clearly, and this goes for all board members and all resident members. Your attendance is required, it's necessary, it's needed. When we don't have quorum, we aren't able to conduct the business of the committees. When we aren't able to conduct the business of the committees, it affects how we operate as a board. We want to make sure that we're always respectful of everyone's time, but that means that we have to make sure that we're honoring the commitments we have. I just timed out on me. One thing I also want to add, so as the committees are stood up, I am still looking for chairs as well. So I am also reviewing for chairs for the Housing and ULURP committee. Those committees are stood up. If you are members of those committees, they will be meeting next month. Chairs for those committees will be determined, but please make sure that you do show up for your first meetings. We will conduct business and set the agendas for the year. Also, this is also of a personal interest to me as well. I've had conversations with some of my counterparts in other districts around the city. And one of the things that they have been doing is actually developing Veterans Affairs committees. I think it's critical. It's of a personal interest to me, especially as I'm a veteran as well. I've had several conversations with the Department of Veteran Services, and there are some really, really fantastic things they're doing to support those people who took up arms for the United States. I think it's important that as a district, we also find out what things we can do in terms of connecting people with resources to make sure people have access to resources that they've earned through their service. So that is something we're going to be looking at standing up over the next couple of months. I will definitely, if you're interested in serving on that, please let the district office know as we look to stand up that committee. Lastly, we did our statement of needs hearing at 6 p.m. today. I want to thank all those members of the board and the community who attended. This is the first step in terms of as we put these requests forward, making sure that we're identifying what we specifically need in this district. Once this goes forward, it is going to come back to us once the agencies respond to our requests. At this point, one of the critical things the committees are going to need to do is actually identify needs and be prepared to hear, in terms of dollar amounts. What are we looking for specifically? So it's more important for us to just say we need garbage cans to say we need 20 garbage cans. It's more important for us to say, okay, we need social workers. We need one social worker in each school in our district, which might add up to like 30 social workers. Looking for those kinds of budget amounts. That way we can push back on agencies to say, if you're not fully funding or can't fund or fully fund 1 year, what can you do 1 year? We're going to be moving to a model where we're going to be doing these, tracking these year over year to see what the progress is. So it's not going to be a cookie cutter process where we just put in the same things. We're looking at where progress has been made and where progress needs to continue. That is all I have. I know I'm trying to keep this very brief because I know we have a couple of matters we need to attend to in the voting session. I will entertain a couple of questions from the board at this time. I see Member Moses.
Yes, I just wanted to make a quick comment because the chair wasn't here from the Environmental Committee. But on November 2nd, which is really important, which is Election Day, on the ballot on question number 2, it's going to be the right to clean air, clean water, and a healthful environment. And I think that it's very important that people go out and vote. That's all I got to say.
Thank you very much, Ms. Moses. Appreciate it. Warren.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to reinforce about the fresh food market. This is a really important thing for us. It's by Grow New York City. The produce is fantastic. Both Fred and I and Dante were there last week. The prices are great, but the most important thing is we have to use it or lose it. So I suggest everyone, the 50 people on this call, go over and give it a shot next week. Thank you.
Ms. Pinkerton.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on Warren. Is there any flyer that's printed that we can share and post in buildings? I just didn't know if we did that.
Dante, do we still have hard copy flyers?
Yeah, we do have hard copy flyers. So if you want some to post in your building, If it's easiest, you can stop by the office, or I can email it to you, whatever's easiest for you.
Yeah,
So
I
I
don't
think
have a printer, but yeah.
I would like for it
But-
to be emailed. That's a great idea.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
The soft, I believe the
Dante,
soft
could you
copies might have
email
gone
it
out
to
the board
everyone,
already.
please?
You know what? I will just email it to the entire board.
Absolutely. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you.
All right, and we can work with. and
Mia made me a lot of prints of the poster, and I hung them up all over my neighborhood and handed them out up and down the street last week. It was really kind of her to do that for me. So you can do it too. I'll deliver them to you if you want, if you like.
I know that request isn't to me.
Hi, if it's
No,
for
no,
me, I have a very limited schedule. I'm only available after hours, which unfortunately is after office hours. I will try to find somebody to print out the flyer for me, but I'd like to share it with my building. Thank you.
I just like it emailed to me and I'll take care of it from there.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Hi,
Okay.
Lauren again. I just want to point out that it was a very big success on Friday. They almost sold out. We had somewhere between 125 purchases, 100 and 125 purchases. But we really need to get this out because as we use it, it will be expanded. So thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, Melanie, I see you, and I think we'll close on you because we want to get to the business side.
Can you all hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, great. Thank you. And thanks so much for everything that you shared, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to come back on because I understand that you all didn't hear me before, if that's okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So what I was saying is greetings, everyone. And I just wanted to make sure the community was aware, all parents and guardians, that the specialized high school admissions test has a registration deadline of November 15th. So if you have a child in the going to the in the 8th or 9th grade, they can actually be in the running for a specialized high school test. So you can hear this and more announcements during our very first meeting of the year on November 7th at 7:00 p.m. Once again, thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you very much, Melanie. Okay, at this time, we are now going to go into the voting items. Sorry, bear with me while I just pull up my agenda here. Sorry about that, just took a second. Okay, so for the voting items, we have 3 SLA applications that we need to approve. Plus, we also have before the board the letter of support for the New York Center for Community Psychoanalysis that we had the presentation earlier. All right, let's address the NYCCP application first, the letter of support. Okay, so Fran, are you here? Fran, are you still here? Okay, maybe we don't do that first then. All right, Rabbi Berman, as long as we have you then, if we can actually address the liquor licenses, let's put those forward.
All right, so I want to first just address, again, we did not have quorum, so I'm just going to tell you what I recommended at the committee meeting and what our discussion was. With regards to the 2 applications, which are pretty standard, I think we should support those applications. There's nothing unusual about those applications, especially one of them already appeared before the board before. With regard to the laundromats, I think it's a little bit more complicated because on the one hand, we want to support small businesses. I think the idea of trying to survive in these difficult times and taking 2 businesses and trying to, just make ends meet is good, but I do think there are legitimate concerns with regard to operating machinery under influence, with regard to whether or not they'll be able to monitor, monitor who comes into the laundromat and who comes into the bar, especially since originally in the initial application, they were only planning to have 2 staff. And with 2 staff, it's for sure impossible to monitor. So what I think we should do is, and Chair, or I'd love to hear from the rest of this board, I think we should write a letter to the SLA basically saying, we support, typically we support such applications, but due to the fact it's unique, because it's a laundromat bar, we asking the SLA to please check out all these issues, which is whatever the issues are, whether the health department issues, whether the issues of machinery and operating under influence, and just make sure everything's in compliance and safe. And we sort of flag it for them. What's going to happen is typically when you deny something, you flag it, it goes to a hearing by the SLA. And if you want, I could be in touch with them. They'll let us know when the hearing is, and community members can participate if they choose. And we'll get a full, assessment. I personally think, regardless of what we do, that because it's so unique, the SLA is going to flag it themselves. But I think because there's such a, there's community concern, and members of the board expressed concern, we should just write a very simple, straightforward letter saying, these are our concerns. Please make sure they're all in compliance and everything's going to be fine. And that's it. And without taking a clear position either way, just addressing what the potential issues are. That's what I think we should do. But again, it's up to the board.
Just so that we can move the agenda. So let's do this. Let's take the other 2 first. I think maybe we should take the other 2 first. Vote on those, and then we'll address that third one. We'll see where the board direction the board wants to go with that one. So let's look at Magic Hat first. So the Magic Hat application, you said that was one that came back to the board, correct?
Correct.
All right, and it's an alteration. Before we approved them for liquor, wine, and beer, they were rejected by the SLA because they said they were too close to a church. So they're going to downgrade one license to a wine, beer, and cider. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. In your meeting, were there any objections from the board members that were present?
No.
Okay. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the application for Magic Hat Food Corp. at 1206 Nostrand Avenue. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have it moved by Tessa Hackett Vieira. Do I have a second?
Second by Rashida.
I have a second by Rashida Sadiq. Are there any questions? Any unreadiness?
So now that they've been downgraded without hard liquor, never mind, I understand. Never mind.
Yeah, just for those that don't understand, I'll just, the 200-foot rule and the 500-foot rule only applies to hard liquor if you're like a restaurant or to a grocery or a liquor store that sells wine or beer. But if it's a restaurant just says wine, beer, and cider, the 200-foot rule and the 500-foot rule doesn't apply. It's not relevant.
All right, so let's just take any unreadiness. So I do see Ms. Pinkerton. Is there anyone else who has a question? Okay, seeing none, we're going to take Ms. Pinkerton's question, then we're going to close and we're going to have the vote. Ms. Pinkerton, go ahead.
I just have a statement about the Pearl wash tub. So if it's not pertinent now, it can hold.
It could hold.
So then, okay.
Hold,
so we'll hold that. We'll
hold.
get to that question. All right then. Mia, if you, well, actually, let's do this very quickly. All those in favor of the motion to approve the application for Magic Hat, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any members in opposition? Please say nay.
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 I'm sorry. Okay, hold on. Let's do it. So the first nay was who? I didn't say.
Beverly.
Please take the
Beverly. Second nay was Augustine Blackwell.
Augustine, yes.
Okay, so we have Beverly Newsom, Augustine Blackwell. I'm sorry, who's the other nay?
Francisco.
I saw Francisco Leopold. Nay. Is there any other opposition? Okay, I have 3 no's. I see 3 no's then. Are there any abstentions? I hear no abstentions. With that, If you please record those votes, the motion carries. The application is approved.
Better speak up. We can't hear you. Some people can't hear you.
Okay, you're having trouble. Can you hear me?
Excuse me?
No, I'm just trying to do a mic check.
I can hardly hear you guys.
Yes,
okay,
we can.
We'll try and be louder. We'll try and be louder on the microphone. Okay. All right. We're going to move on to the next item, which is, keeps locking. Hello. Neat Rules Hospitality Group, located on 546 Flatbush Avenue, wine, beer, cider license. Yakov, were there any questions that came up in the committee with respect to this one?
Not that I recall. Rashida, there was nothing, right? That was pretty awesome, straightforward.
Correct, straightforward. There wasn't anything else.
Okay, thank you for that. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the application for Neat Rules Hospitality Group
Can you repeat the address?
at 546 Flatbush Avenue.
You know, I think it's helpful sometimes to give the DBA. If you're familiar
Thank
with
you.
Flatbush, it's Hibiscus Brew, the hot pink storefront on Flatbush, right past Lincoln Road. If you're on the southern side of Flatbush, traffic headed southern side, it's Hibiscus Brew.
Okay.
So moved.
All right.
All right,
I have it
Is this a
moved
wine,
by
beer, and
Tessa
cider
Hackett Vieira.
license, or,
It's a wine, beer, and cider license.
okay.
Excuse me.
Okay, I have it moved.
Excuse me.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. The motion, we have the motion is on the floor. It's been moved by Tessa Hackett Vieira. Do I have a second?
Second by
Second.
Rashida Sadiq.
Okay, I have a second by Rashida Sadiq. Now we will take unreadiness.
I'm sorry.
Let me see.
Excuse me. Stuart just texted me. He said he's trying to log in and he's not being let in. So can somebody let him in, please?
Stuart Balbrook, let's do it in, please.
All right, we'll handle it.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Okay, so is there any unreadiness on this application?
Say the name of the business again, the way it was presented to us.
The name of the company is Neat Rules Hospitality Group, and I believe Mia said that is doing business as Hibiscus Brew. So that's the name that's on the storefront, Hibiscus Brew.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, we're going to call the question. All those members of the board in favor of approving the application, please say aye.
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 Are there any members who oppose?
I
Please call your name.
oppose. Beverly.
Call your name. Okay,
Beverly.
Newsom is in opposition. No, we got you.
Blackwell.
Anyone else in opposition?
Blackwell.
I'm sorry. Augustine Blackwell, I'm sorry. Is there anyone else in opposition? Please call your name. Okay, I have Newsom and Blackwell in opposition. Are there any abstentions? I hear no abstentions. The motion carries. The application is approved by the board. Okay, now we're going to go to the last application for Pearl Lee's Wash Tub LLC at 314 Rogers Avenue. Okay.
Amy has a comment for this.
What's that
I'm
between?
sorry, hold
What's
on.
that between? Rogers between
Crown
where
and Crown and Montgomery.
Crown
Yeah,
and
between Crown and
Montgomery. Crown and Montgomery. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We discussed motions. So let me ask this. Is there a motion on the floor to approve this application?
Fred, I just have a comment because Yakov put out a
Right. No, no.
recommendation. Okay.
No, understood. And what I'm saying is, let's put a motion on the floor because we can amend the motion or we can do whatever else, but we're not going to discuss something that's not real. It's not a motion. It's not business.
So why don't we
for the
make
board.
you want to make a motion to support? You want to make a motion?
Well, make a motion to approve and we'll amend it
But
if it comes to
it
it.
goes to the point, like if you're going to approve it or not, I mean, whatever. I just want to say that this is one of 3 that I can identify laundromats in a 2-block radius. It is not the only laundromat. And I feel like this is a unique opportunity. Yes, it's not for everyone, but it's a choice among laundromats that are available. So if you want to flag it, I feel like that information should go to the SLA. That's all I wanted to say.
Amy, okay, order of the day. We're going to discuss a motion. We're not going to discuss just for discussing. So if there's a motion on the floor, you can make the point as part of the discussion. But is there a motion on the floor?
It's Warren Burke that we approve the laundromat bar for Sids and Suds, whatever it's called, noting that we write a letter with the concerns that have been addressed here.
Yes, I agree with Warren.
That's extra. We can do that afterwards. Let's just approve or disapprove. We'll fix it. We'll fix it up afterwards.
A motion is
it a
needed.
motion to
Let's do
approve?
the motion, please.
Yes.
I make a motion that we don't take a position on whether to approve or disapprove.
We
My motion.
we don't do motions to not do stuff. We do motions to do stuff.
Right.
Approve Warren's motion.
I have a motion. We have a second. Let's discuss it.
I approve
Very well.
that motion, Warren.
Thank you.
Can we go back to the original motion because there's back to your motion that was
okay,
made.
hold on. So Warren, please restate your motion for the record.
Okay, I make a motion that the board votes to approve SUDS, etc., noting a letter to the SLA for the points that are of concern.
But what are we approving in that case?
No. Is the motion second or no?
I second the motion.
Wait, hold on. With
Thank you. Now there's discussion. Go ahead.
Hold on. Okay, so there's a motion. Who's the second?
I second the motion.
Vivia? Okay, we're doing this by the book. Okay, fine. Now we will have conversation on the motion.
Points of clarification.
Warren? Yes.
Fred, I'm just Parliament. I know you're the chair, but I'm gonna ask you a question. Can we make a motion to send a letter can we make a motion to send them a letter asking them to look into these issues without taking a position? We can't make such a motion. It's not possible.
No, Yaakov, there's a motion on the floor.
I understand it,
And
but
he's
Fred
asking
said
the
before.
question.
Yaakov, the motion includes your concern.
I understand that.
So just vote on it or not?
No, well, we could amend the motion. My question to Fred is, are we required to take a position, yes or no?
I believe we either approve it or we reject it. Here's the thing. Either we approve it or we reject it, or we can approve it with stipulations. So if there are stipulations that you have, we need to make sure we hash out what those stipulations are.
Yeah, so there's, can I say something? Please don't interrupt me. I approve the motion with the stipulations, right? So we could have the discussion, you know what I mean? But I really think that it's a great idea and we should move on it.
That's a great idea.
Okay, well, listen, so it sounds like we're talking about approving it with stipulations. Perhaps where we should go is, what are the stipulations? That's the conversation. What do you want in terms of what are the stipulations you want to put forward?
As maker of the motion, I think we should leave that up to the committee as what they stated before.
That's a little problematic because the committee didn't come up with a recommendation. They didn't have quorum.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I was at that meeting. I'm on the committee, and we did not put up any stipulations.
Okay. So Yaakov, since you suggested the stipulations, what are they?
I said I made a recommendation, not stipulations. I was under the impression, and probably I was probably wrong, that we don't have to take a position on this letter of support. We could just ask them to look into these issues without taking a position. If the board were to send a letter of support, I would ask the SLA to look into the health department concerns whether or not you could have a laundromat and a restaurant in close proximity, if it's possible, because of both people that are under the influence operating machinery and just the food and the cost of the detergent, the fumes, etc., and whether or not they're going to be in compliance with making sure that minors don't have access to the alcohol because of the unique circumstances surrounding the laundromat. And I want to actually turn to Rashida because she's the vice chair and the former chair. Maybe she has some more recommendations here because she was also at the meeting.
Yeah, I mean, during the meeting, our discussion was mainly, one, we wanted to make sure that there would be enough employees there to make sure that minors were not getting access to the alcohol, whether they're going to have enough individuals to make sure that IDs are checked, making sure that it is separate from the laundromat and the the bar area. And those were kind of the main, and obviously, yes, the Department of Health, making sure that there's no issues with having the food and the cooking of food in the facility, which he said it wasn't going to be cooking, it was going to be mainly like grill paninis and things like that. So I think if we're going to be putting in stipulations, then one, we want to make sure that it's in compliance with all Department of Health requirements. And then two, that he has enough employees at the facility to make sure that any issues regarding other inebriated individuals, making sure people of age are only being served, and making sure the laundry and the alcohol, the bar area, are separate.
So we have about 7 or 8 concerns that are perfect, and they've all been recorded. Is that good enough, Yaakov?
That's good enough for me.
No. Okay, all right. Let's make sure. So the stipulations that we're looking for are, one, that the establishment is in compliance with all health all regulations by for the Department of Health. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
2, that there are sufficient staff to make sure that to ensure security and make sure that IDs are checked and everything else. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. What was the third?
No, but Fred, because Rashida she articulated to make sure IDs are checked, to make sure people under the influence of alcohol don't operate machinery, to make sure there's no people coming from the laundry. Children aren't there. If a child comes in with an adult in the laundromat, what's going to stop said child from walking over to the bar and buying a drink? So we just want to articulate all the issues. So when SLA does their hearing, they're going to address everything. So we want to be as detailed as possible.
Could I ask something about that? Like, if somebody has a drink, they can't do their laundry? Is that what?
No, we don't want. The bar owners, we don't want somebody with a glass of beer to be on with children doing their laundry. Correct, or at least that's what the owners have said. He said it's going to be separate.
Okay.
Well, hold on. No, because we do have speakers lining up. Wait a second. Hold on. Wait a second. We have a speaker. We have a speaker. Order the day, Warren. We have speakers. You've spoken. Warren, order the day.
I know. I just had to say that.
Glad you did.
Thank you.
Melissa, Beverly, Suki.
Hi, I just wanted to address what Yaakov said about a child going to the bar and ordering a drink. I don't think there's any bartender in New York City that would ever serve a child, like knowingly serve a child. So I think that that's a bit ridiculous.
I agree.
Yeah, like that's ridiculous. That's like a ridiculous scenario that will probably never happen. So that was
my piece. I have a drug prevention program and it happens every day in Crown Heights, just for the record. Not just alcohol, hard drugs are being sold in groceries across Crown Heights in Brooklyn. So I have news for you.
Well, think of it, but then he jeopardizes his own license. There's nothing for us to do. He gets yanked anyway. But thank you for that point, Melissa. Beverly.
There are a couple things. One, he's staffing, and I'm sorry about referring to him in pronoun, but he's providing just enough staff to run his business. He only needs one call out. And now he has a situation. And to ask him to add a backup is not fair because that's additional cost to his business.
But
Secondly,
he already did, Beverly. He hired two, he added 2 staff to the original application.
Yeah, you did.
and that's enough to, that's the minimum staff that he needs, correct?
No, he originally had 2. He added an additional 2
And after
to
you
help with
spoke to him, he
compliance.
added 2 more.
Right.
Okay.
Well, let me just throw this in. We'll go to the next. One of the
secondly-
things I want us to be very. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. Secondly, we're asking the liquor authority to look out for our community because we're afraid to. So we're sending them this liquor license with, yes, we've said yes, but it's with all these stipulations. Can you check this out for us? This is our community. That's our job. When we send
Thank you, Beverly.
it's a yes or no. That's it.
Thank you, Beverly.
So Fred, if I may just briefly respond to Beverly, my understanding is like this, and if somebody knows otherwise, please correct me. When you write a letter to the liquor authority, you say yes or no. So if you say no, it goes to an SLA board. If it's flagged, if somebody thinks there's a need, and they decide on it. If you don't put in any concerns or stipulations, what's going to happen is those issues may not be addressed. So what I'm recommending is that whether we say yes or whether we say no, we should articulate our concerns so we are guaranteed, or at least we are, it's highly probable that our issues will be addressed instead of just saying yes or no.
I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. So we say no, though, and then we add the stipulate. We ask
it's not
why.
to
We say
avoid
why.
responsibility either. But
We say
Beverly,
no, and we say
Beverly,
why.
if I say-
We said yes with the stipulations.
Okay. We're not
Beverly,
talking
to
out of
say
turn.
no.
So let's
Talking out of
vote.
turn. Okay,
Let
there's no.
us vote.
Hold on. All right. First of all, the one thing I do want to say is this: just in terms of as a board, one of the things that's concerning, I don't think it's our business to start micromanaging businesses where it's like, you know what, I think you need to have more hot dogs versus hamburgers. It's a matter of he's here for a liquor license. If we think the liquor license is in order, we approve it. If we think it's out of order, we don't. If we think that there are some mitigations he needs to include before we're comfortable with that, that's the stipulations we add as part of this. But okay, I'm sorry. Suki, go ahead. You have your hand raised.
Yeah, it's not that I don't think the stipulations are reasonable. I obviously agree with all of the concerns, but there are so many of them and they're complicated that I think it's more direct for us to just say something that to say that we have a problem with a laundromat being combined with a bar. And if you're all afraid of, sounding unfriendly to business, why don't we just say we approve the liquor license provided there's no laundromat?
Shuki, my point is that it's more likely it'll get approved, in my opinion, at least. We just send a denial, then we stipulate what our issues are. Unless you say no and you put our issues in, it's important that we address these issues. That's the only way really for a guarantee that it's going to be addressed by the SLA. Alternatively, maybe, Fred, the other option is to say no or say yes and email separately, a separate email, just what our concerns are. Not part of I don't know if that's done, but that's another possibility, just like a background email maybe with what our concerns were and why we voted no. I don't know, whatever the process is, why we voted yes.
Right. I think it's cleaner to just say yes, but with stipulations, just the
All right,
reasons
I'm
why or what the issues are. What the issues
I'm
are
good
in
with
terms
that.
of we're okay with it if these things happen.
Beautiful.
Menachem Margolin.
Yeah, I just think this whole idea of stipulations is absurd. This is a new laundromat. It doesn't exist yet. There are many others around. It's not like this is the only laundromat that people have to go to. And parents and families will probably make their own choices and say, oh, this is a laundromat that has a bar. Maybe I shouldn't take my children in here. I think these stipulations are a waste of time. I think we should just approve it and let this man get his business off the ground. I think it's a very interesting idea. And we should trust the community members to make the right decisions for their families. And we don't need to have any of these stipulations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Moses.
I just wanted to echo what the person just said. First of all, I think what's being said now is very discriminatory. First of all, now you want to tell a man who to hire, who not to hire.
That's right.
And at the end of the day, if you go to some of these places that he was speaking on, and I've been to them, it's called Buster Browns or whatever. I mean, little kids are there. but they all have to do what they have to do in terms of keeping alcohol and liquor away from, and these kids are right there with us playing games. So all I'm saying to you is that I think we should support it. He's not going to have hard liquor. If you go in the grocery store, they're drinking beer. Give me a break. I just don't like when people discriminate against other people like that. That's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you, Ms.
Thank
Moses.
you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Melissa,
I'm next.
did you still have a question?
No,
Hi,
I
can I
didn't have a
do-
question. Just wanted
can
to
I
echo
pose
what.
a question?
Sorry.
I'm next,
Okay,
Fred.
thank you. All right. Okay, you have the mic.
Yes. So I'm on the committee. I had another engagement, but I was trying to be available for Yakov so we could try to have quorum, but I probably wouldn't have made that much of a difference. And Suki, no, nobody's afraid to be unfriendly to business. I agree with Menachem Margling. I agree with Patricia Moses. They make sense. Okay, approve or disapprove it. Okay, but that's it. Stipulations are ridiculous. It's not the only laundromat. I don't know how many children go to the laundromat to do laundry anyway for the household and the family. And the bottom line is, if this is a laundry bar, it's a novel idea. It's innovative. It's 21st century. Give us a break. Give the potential entrepreneur a break, and let's move this along.
Okay, thank you, Tessa. Vivia, you got a question?
Oh, I totally agree with Pat and Tessa because everyone have a choice. If I take my child to the laundromat as an adult, that's my child's my responsibility. I'm not going to make my child do something in front of my child that's unsafe. So as adults, we have the right to make decisions. So yes, approve the business. There is separated, the laundromat is separated. If there's people that's on the corner drinking beer, you know what I mean? Children are walking past people on the street drinking all the time. If you're in the laundromat with your child, you're not gonna give them, you have a right to make that decision. So please, I support the business, and let's vote on it already.
Fred, if I may respond to my esteemed colleagues, that I hear your arguments and I appreciate your support for small businesses. And as a committee, we've taken that position, but I don't think it's correct to say that we should just allow parents to have judgments, or because I think that we have a responsibility as a board to assess whether this is the interest of the community, whether it's safe for the community. And it's not about whether we trust the parent judgments or other judgments. We have to really assess. It's a new idea. There are concerns, and I don't see what the issue is with articulating some of our concerns and supporting it, especially if we're going to support it. It could be written in a very, it doesn't have to be an aggressive manner. It could be written very matter-of-factly. We've never done this before. These are our concerns. Please look into it. That's it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
It's discriminatory. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
right.
okay,
So you're accusing me of discrimination.
Okay,
yes,
order
that's
of
what
the day.
it
Order
is.
of the day. Order of the day. Thank you. All right, Ms. Baptiste.
I just wanted to say, yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I have 2 children that have to get ready for
Actually, it's a bad signal. You're breaking up. I'm sorry. It's a bad signal. You're breaking up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ms. Baptiste. Your signal is really bad. We can't hear you at all. All right, listen, we'll give you a minute if you could try and move to another place.
Fred, I don't know that I could vote any longer on this issue. I did check with the SLA before I made my recommendation. I don't appreciate being accused of discrimination. I'm offended by it, and I'm not going to take a position on this. I withdraw. I'm not going to take a position on this establishment as a volunteer who's given many years to the board when I'm accused of discrimination. I'm sorry, I cannot participate anymore in this conversation unless Pat wants to withdraw her accusation. Otherwise, I'm done with this.
First of all, it wasn't made directly to you. I said
I made recommendations, Pat.
About you,
order,
you can.
Order.
It's discriminatory.
Order.
Period.
All right. So Warren's
okay. Listen.
Whoever you're attacking.
Listen. Let's get it straight. The comments are to the chair, okay? The comments are to the chair. We are going to handle this business. The business before us right now is the motion on the floor, which is to approve with the stipulations. Now, is that still the motion, or does somebody want to change that to a straight approval? We can do that by moving to amend. If we want to keep the stipulations, let's just get it straight in terms of what the stipulations are going to be.
Repeat the question, Fred, please.
Two options at this point. Either we say we're going to keep it, it's going to approve with the stipulations, and we just make sure we hammer those down, or if we're going to just approve it, that's fine. Or if we don't like it at all, vote this thing down, and and it's just basically, it goes away. It's not an approval.
Without any reasons as to why we're voting it down, you mean?
You don't need any reasons to vote it down. If you don't approve, you don't approve.
But that was a suggestion on the floor, that when we don't approve, if we just send it in as a no, that it may come back to us. And if I remember correctly, the chair said we can send it in with a no and say, okay, these are our concerns. This is why we rejected it. So they'll know, and we don't come back again. Did I misunderstand Yakov when he made that statement?
I didn't say you'll come back again. I said when they assess the application, if you give reasons, you're giving them what to assess instead of them overruling. That's what I said.
Okay.
Right. Because and to be clear, it is possible we can say no and it still gets approved. It happens.
That's correct. It happens all the time.
This happened often. I understand that.
Fred, I'm just concerned. I'm just concerned that because I do hear a lot of different opinions on the board, and I feel bad that we did not have quorum and we can't come with a proper recommendation. But I think maybe I don't want. We should have like five. We should vote 5 ways here. Why don't we try to figure out something that everybody's happy with and stick to that motion, so we only have to vote once. We come to some sort of consensus.
This is Warren. I've made the motion, and I call a vote.
Well,
and Warren, just to be correct, yours is the motion to approve with stipulations, correct?
Correct, and the stipulations should be both
the ones that Rashida stated.
Yeah, Rashida and Yaakov. We had it on the recording, so it's documented, and that's it.
Is the board comfortable with the motion with stipulations?
I'm sorry.
Are we comfortable with
Yes.
We're trying to get this right now, because what I'm saying is if you need to amend it right now and take it out, just amend it, take it out, and then you vote on it and get it done.
But right now, the only vote on it that's on the floor is to vote affirmative. That's if I'm understanding this correctly. The only vote, the only motions on the floor is to vote affirmatively.
With stipulations.
Whether with stipulations or without.
Stipulations. No, right now the vote is for stipulations. Yes, with stipulations.
Right. That's the motion that's on the floor.
That's the motion on the floor. Has it been seconded, Fred?
Correct.
Yes,
it's on the floor.
Yes, it has been.
It's a motion on the floor. Yeah.
All right. So let's call the vote. Yes, approval with stipulation. That's the recommendation of the chair.
So what if you don't want the stipulations?
So how do you vote? Question.
Yeah.
If you don't want the stipulations, then
if you don't want the stipulations, then abstain.
Then vote no or abstain. Exactly. But let's get this going.
But if you abstain, it goes to the majority vote.
It goes.
All right, Beverly. We all know that.
No.
We all know that.
That's not accurate.
She does it.
No.
Come on.
No. Hold on. Order of the day. Order of the day. For this to pass, it needs a majority of those present. Majority. So if there are more no votes and abstentions, it fails.
Exactly.
That's where we are. All right. We are going to call the question then. So we're going to call the question on the vote. So please call the roll.
Okay, members. Kyrie Aline. Kyrie Aline. Nicholas Almanor.
No.
Stuart Balberg.
Yes.
Fred Baptiste.
Same.
Naomi Baptiste.
Yes.
Rabbi Yaakov Berman.
Yes.
Warren Burke.
Yeah.
Augustine Blackwell.
No.
Suki Chung.
No.
Verlene Dozier, Rosemary Evering,
Abstain.
Tessa Hackett Vieira,
Absolutely.
Bishop Hamilton Gonzalez, Sloma Zalman Hecht, Primo Lasana, Francisca Leopold,
Abstain.
Raina Lagute,
Yes.
Melanie Lewis,
Yes.
Matthias Limburger,
Yes.
Christian LeBeau, Manaka Margolin,
Begrudgingly, yes.
Carmen Martinez,
No.
Vivian Morgan,
Yes.
Pat Moses,
I'm all confused. What the hell?
A vote yes is for the motion to approve with the stipulations. A vote no is to no, you don't want. Yeah, a vote no, and abstention is
No.
I'm sorry. Okay, please clarify. A vote yes means that I want it, right?
that you approve
Yes.
with stipulations. That it goes with the stipulations.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I was a little confused for a minute.
thank you. Yankee Pearson,
Yes.
Real Pierre Boones,
Yes.
Amy Pinkerton,
Yes.
Yanela Rome Perry,
Yes.
Dexter Roberts,
Yes. Yes.
thank you. Felice Robertson,
Yes.
thank you. Melissa Severe,
Abstain.
Rashida Sadiq,
Yes.
Kanina Sperlin, Rashida Sykes,
Abstain.
Debbie Timothy,
Yes.
Linda Watson Lord,
Sure, yes.
Evelyn Williams,
Abstain.
Lorianne Woolsey,
Yes.
Cheryl Wright.
Yes.
Thank you. Just give me a moment to tabulate, guys.
Before you count, Mia, my vote wasn't taken.
Mine's either. Sorry, Kyrie.
Kyrie, what was your vote?
I was gonna say no.
Thank you. Beverly, I have you down for a no vote, right?
Oh, yeah. Good moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Beverly.
You're welcome.
Okay, Chair, I have 22 yes votes, 6 no votes, 6 abstentions.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the vote?
22 yes votes, 6 votes of no, and 6 abstentions.
Motion carries. Okay, the application stands approved with stipulations. We'll work with the district office team to draft the document that will go along with the approval, along with noting the concerns of the committee that have been stated. All right, moving on to the last item, the letter of support for New York City. I'm sorry, the New York. Yeah, New York. I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair, your
Yeah.
volume is very low.
Is that any better?
Yes, it's better.
Okay, I'll try and keep the mic up. So the last piece of business is the letter of support for the New York Center for Community Psychoanalysis. Okay, I was trying to get those initials. All right, so that center had gone before the Health and Social Services Committee last week. They did not have quorum, so were not able to give a vote and give a recommendation. They were requested to come and present before the board tonight, so that way we could ask questions and determine whether we wanted to give the letter of support. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to provide a letter of support for NYCCP.
Motion.
Fred, can we have discussion?
After
There will be,
this,
absolutely.
first and
Once
second.
there's a motion. Yeah, once there's a motion on the floor, we will discuss.
Jacob Berman
So
made
I
a
have a
motion.
move by Nicholas. Oh, I'm sorry. Motion by Jacob Berman. Nicholas Almanor. I guess I'll take a second from you.
Second.
Seconded by Nicholas Almanor. Okay. Moved and properly seconded. Questions? Okay. All right. Let me see. I see an order. Manaka Margolin, did you have a question on this? Is your hand raised for this question or?
No, it was for the last point, but that's been resolved for now.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Amy Pinkerton?
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah, I
Chair,
asked earlier if it
Mr.
were
Chair,
possible.
Before you take anybody ask question, I'm asking for Melissa, the committee secretary, and to be ready to answer any questions that I ask, please.
Very well, thank you. Okay, Amy, go ahead. Your question is?
My question was, earlier I asked if we're going to vote on something and we didn't have much background, if we could be provided the email, the website address where we could do our own research before voting on whether we want to let this group or this person open a business in our community. I mean, we don't have a lot of information on it, not presented tonight and not presented earlier. So just, I think that it's premature to vote yes or no now without giving us due diligent time to research.
So let's go back one step because this did go before the committee. Melissa, if you are there, could you just give for the board some of the conversation that happened in committee?
And you can give the web address so we can look ourselves, please.
Yeah, sure. So they presented that, after reviewing, the rates of psychiatric hospitalizations in our community, that there was a need, and that's why they wanted to come to our particular community. The plan is to first start with the adult population to offer psychiatric services, therapy services for those that are in need, and then to move on to youth and pediatric populations. They plan on doing it a combination of in-person and hybrid, based off of our experience during the pandemic. I'm not sure that they have a website yet because from what I understand, they don't exist yet. Like they're just starting. So I'm not sure if they have a website.
All right, it's kind of premature to vote on something
They
that didn't
do have a
start yet.
website. They
Their
do have a
exact
website.
name,
hold
so
on,
we can do a Google search. Can we have their exact name written so we can do a Google search?
The New York Center for Community Psychoanalysis. Okay.
They have a website. It comes right up.
Okay, perfect. Now let me ask this question. So Melissa, what was the consensus of the board? Understanding you didn't have a quorum, so you could not have a vote. What was the conversation? What was the consensus of the members present? Or was there a consensus?
There was not consensus, but I think that I should allow Warren, who was the one that disagreed with us.
I also want to because would like to allow Rosemary Everin to speak on the topic as well. She is one of the committee members.
Yeah, basically we were split. My position was that there is a need for psychiatric services in our community. Why would we not want to support psychiatric services coming into our community? But I believe there were some other concerns, which I'm not 100% clear what they were. So I can't speak for what those concerns were.
And
Warren,
Warren was the only person
Yeah.
who had any concerns. So Rosemary, she's open to
Do you want me to speak?
I
Okay.
too voice concerns about being oversaturated in our area with this type of program.
Rosemary line was open to speak. Can you speak first, please?
Yes, my concern was based on what Warren said, and with respect, he was saying that we have all these services. But if we have all these services for our people, why are so many people with mental health issues still roaming the streets? Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, I was saying, why are all these people still roaming the street? That means the services are not going to the people who
Okay,
are.
listen, order of the day. Listen, we need to make sure our microphones are muted while members are speaking, please. Ms. Evering, I apologize. Continue, please.
Okay, it's okay. I know that's how the board members act all the time. Nobody gets a chance to speak. Yes, I'm saying, if all these services, as the esteemed chair said, are in this area, why people who are in need of it, it's not going to them? That was my concern. So if there is a chaos, so to speak, where people can go directly to get that sort of service, or it is for people who are in need of it, why would we want to turn it down? I agree that we need more information about this place that want to set it up, but at the same time, let us get all the information, let us get the person in charge to come again before the committee or the board in general and present themselves. But to say, no, we don't want to saturate, it's not a good look. It's not a good look, because I know that people are in need of this kind of service. I was one of them. So I am telling you, there is a need. So let us get the person to present again. If there are still concerns, we address them. Thank you.
Good, thank you, Ms. Evering. Are there any other committee members who wanted to speak?
Am I assuming incorrectly that
Can I say
this?
something? Can I say something?
Hold on.
Yeah, Fred, my hand is up as well.
My hand is up.
Okay,
So is mine.
we're gonna go down.
My hand is up
see all the
too.
hands. Hold on. I'm asking for the committee members to speak first because they were there and they heard it, and then we're gonna go down the line. I see all the hands raised. We got you. Okay, I'm sorry. Were there any other committee members who wanted to address what the conversation was?
Warren, please unmute yourself. And I think Rashida wants to speak, but she was not there at the time. Warren, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, I'm here. First of all, I just want to address Rosemary's comments. I agree totally with her. And you can't judge the amount of services by people on the street because certain people do not want help. And there are a lot of agencies addressing that. Are they successful? I would say mediocre. But the most important thing is this, is that I am for more help in this community. Francesca and I had a meeting the other night with Kings County Hospital, and they're inundated with admissions for younger people and teenagers and young adults. And the reason for that is that H&H is feeding all the Brooklyn people to Kings County. So that sort of corrects my image. I am all for people who are going to be treating adults. But the real question is that you know, in terms of her presentation, they had the numbers wrong, which I wrote out and everything else. You know, I'm all for more help. I just want to make sure the right help is here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Warren. Were there any other members?
Yeah,
I'm
hi.
sorry, was it Rashida? Ms. Sykes?
Yes, Rashida Sykes.
Yes.
I wasn't at
Go ahead.
that meeting. I am on the health committee, but I wasn't at that meeting. And I just wanted to say, I met Carlos, who's going to be the clinical director, if this project goes as planned. I met both of them during this summer because they were inquiring about this project and they wanted to talk to long-term community residents. So I got a little bit of background on what they're doing and why. And of course, like everybody else said, there is a big, huge need here in Flatbush. And there aren't really many clinics that people can walk into that, you know, have that kind of, that's gonna have that type of service. So I really think we should give it a chance. Maybe. And speaking with them, I really feel like they're passionate and they want to bring the services to the community. And I've been working with them and another group called Flatbush Mixtape. I don't know if anybody's heard of them, but we've been doing something called self-care, once a month, self-care Sundays. And so I've got a chance to really talk to both of them one-on-one that want to do this project. So yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we're going to go down the list. Now, I would ask, there's definitely a number of members who have questions or comments. Please try and keep them as brief as possible, okay? Ms. Pinkerton, go ahead first.
No, sorry, my hand shouldn't be up. I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Suki.
Yeah, so during her presentation, she said that she was asking for a fairly specific type of support, which is prior approval review from the New York State Office of Mental Health. And can I share my screen just so you guys can see what the description is of prior approval review? Because it's not just, you know, we're not just voting on, do we need more mental health services in the community? And we're not just voting on, do we support somebody who lives in this community who wants to open a business? It's a very specific thing that they're asking for. And I think we should know what that is. Can I just share the screen?
I think you've been made a co-host, so yes, you can share.
Okay. Okay, so what it's saying is that they want to make sure that people who are seeking operating certificates or planning to significantly expand services meet criteria for quality, safety, and fiscal viability. And what she presented during the meeting was a need for services. They didn't present anything that pertains to the quality of their programs, their safety, or their fiscal viability. And it sounds like the committee didn't have a chance to ask those questions either. So I think that this is premature. I would, you know, if the committee is, I understand that they came to the committee to ask for this support. But if the committee feels that mental health is a priority, you know, maybe they want to go out and look at all the different types of providers, including Kings County's own outpatient clinics, because they do have outpatient clinics. And, you know, look into what are the best practices and what they recommend. And as, you know, as Warren said, what are the needs? You know, what do we want to prioritize in this community in terms of asking for government funding and for other resources?
Okay, thank you very much, Suki. Well, 1 second, let me just see. All right, okay, thank you. Okay, next I see Ms. Newsom.
Yes. My question, I understood that that this is a walk-in clinic, correct? It's not someone who is transferring from a hospital or another environment. I'm walking down, I'm finding myself in a challenging situation that I need to be talked through. She is the individual, or her institution is the individual that I would walk into. Am I understanding her correctly? Her presentation.
Yep.
That it sounds accurate to me.
Right, like I would walk into the out clinic of Kings County, not be enrolled or registered or admitted to Kings County. I'm walking into the out clinic. So she would be another clinic, so to speak.
Hi,
Well,
this is.
Because I'm admitting myself.
No, I'd like to answer that. Number one, if that was the case, is perfect. Because a lot of clinics are feeders to the hospitals. But
If
what
I
she
was
was,
Warren,
let me
if I
just
was
say,
admitted or if I walked in on my own.
right, my impression of what she said, and if I'm wrong, it's fine, is that they were focusing on people after they're released or after they're finished with Kings County Hospital or any other behavioral that first deals with crisis or trauma.
I thought she said she didn't have that relationship yet.
No, she
Well,
doesn't.
no, she doesn't have the relationship, but the function, my understanding is the function they serve is, so after you've gone through your crisis, you've been released, you need therapy afterwards.
Follow up, yes.
Counseling. That's where you're going. You're going to a center where then you'll have somebody that you follow up with.
Right. It's a
place.
So I don't just walk into her, Melissa. So I don't just walk into her on my own.
You can.
I would guess that you could.
You can.
You could, but the function that she stated was aftercare.
Okay, so my next question is, according to what Melissa said, her institution, her clinic, her practice is starting with adults first, and then they're going to young adults. Is there a reason they're using a graduated system, Melissa?
I think it was just a capacity thing, just to make sure that they're number one, like they're established first before they move into young adults and pediatrics, because there are more considerations for young adults and and children when you're doing therapy or any kind of psychiatric intervention that requires a more skilled social worker or psychiatrist or therapist. So that seemed to be the reasoning when I asked her about that. We asked her about that.
So you did ask her?
Yeah, we did ask her about, like, why aren't you immediately doing teens and youth, because we have such a need.
And Kings County is backed up. Yes.
Right. So that was the explanation, at least from what I understood.
Thank you, Melissa.
Okay, Rabbi Berman.
I'm not gonna ask a question. Not gonna ask.
Okay. Tessa.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chair. I'm in the business. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I'm in the business. And I just want to share with the members of the board who are still with us that there is a crisis currently, and it's mostly coming out of post-COVID related mental health issues and some of the many dark issues that have occurred during COVID. And I just want to share with the board members that there is a backup and a lack of services citywide. There is literally nowhere to refer members of the public, members of the community, members of the place where I work for this kind of service. People that need intervention for a child, you can't find a therapist to take on the child because they're saying they're not working with children younger than 16 years old. And this is for family law cases. For individuals and grown-ups, there's waiting lists up the wazoo. Child psychologists are not taking any more people. The hospitals are not taking any more people. Everywhere has a waiting list. And literally, there is no place in Flatbush of this type of service to refer anyone ever except for Kings County. There is no community-based clinic to refer anyone, child older than 16 or adults. So I know that the New York Center for Community Psychoanalysis may not have all their ducks in a row. It may not all be lined up. If she's just asking for, if the organization is just asking for a letter of support, and we feel that, yes, we need this kind of service, and we definitely do, then if it's just a matter of a letter of support, I think we can go with a yes, and then let's see how it pans out, because there's nowhere in the Bronx, there's nowhere in Brooklyn, there's nowhere in Queens, and there's few places in Manhattan, and everybody everywhere in New York City has a waiting list, everywhere. And that's what I have to say. That's what I wanted to share with the members of the board. And this work, that kind of work, is literally God's work. They have first responders that's in the medical field, and mental health workers are second responders. And that is the God's honest truth.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Aguilera. All right, so listen, so here's the order. I see Ms. Blackwell, I see Ms. Lewis. Hold on one second. I see Ms. Blackwell, I see Ms. Lewis, I see Ms. Moses. I'm going to add myself to the list, and then we're going to close on that because we do need to vote on this. All right, so let's start. Ms. Blackwell, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I understand there's a major need, and there's a lot of people walking our streets right now with mental issues of many different capacities on so many levels. It's scary, especially since the pandemic. But we have these people walking our streets because we have allowed in all of these shelters, the schizophrenic buildings for residents living. Where they're gonna go? They now live in a neighborhood, but this is like a residential area, and I'm speaking of where I'm at over here in Crown Heights, where people own their homes, have lived here 50, 60 years in their private home, raising their families and their children and children growing up. And now we're saturating our streets with these mental cases that are going around doing these crazy things. Every place has a place, and we don't all belong in the same place. Just a statement.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Blackwell. Ms. Lewis.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to make everyone aware that they are also on Instagram at nyc.community.psychoanalysis. And they seem to have been, she did share that she's a member of the community, which is something I like, because when you go to school and you get this education and you want to bring it back to where you live, that says something. She's not Long Island, or, no offense to anybody that don't want to live in Long Island. I'm just saying the fact that she lives in a community, she wants to bring it to the community. And looking over the Instagram, they've been engaging with the community. She even writes, "We often suffer privately." Well, this was a post, because we have yet to find the words that would lead us to our neighbors, words in common. That is why community is healing. I feel like they're really identifying with people. And I feel like they're really passionate about wanting to serve a need. So I just wanted to share that, so everybody can just, check out the Instagram, and there'll be another service to our diverse, very growing community.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lewis. Ms. Moses, we see you.
Yes. I just wanted to say that, I served on two boards. One was Brooklyn Children's Psychiatric Center on Bergen Street in Brooklyn. And then I was also appointed to a joint statewide association board of visitors for children and adult mental health. Now, I just wanted to say this, not everybody that is committed, regular people that are not going into psychiatric centers need help, mental health. You can have a drug problem. You could have a problem in your home that you don't want to talk to your friends. You want to talk to somebody on the outside. So I think that you can never have too many places where you go, that you could go without being admitted. Everybody's not admitted into a psychiatric ward. Although
That's
some
correct.
need to be there, we haven't been admitted. But I'm just saying, even for myself, sometimes you have problems and you want to talk to somebody. I think it's good to have that in our community.
Amen.
You're absolutely correct. It's hard for you to get an appointment when you got something going on right now, you know, and you don't want to go to your friends because your friends might tell it all. So you need somebody to talk to. That's all I got to say.
Amen.
I'm for it.
Can I ask if
All right,
anybody is familiar with the founders professionally and their
okay,
professional
Suki.
reputation?
Suki, you know, we can't have the speaking out of turn. I think basically all the members have had. Understood. No, appreciate that. But I did say that I was going to take the last one and we were going to close. I think at this point most of what I was probably going to say has been said already. I think that there's a need. The hospitals can't do it. We have an opportunity. I think sometimes you just have to let that happen. There are no perfect choices, or sometimes you may want to second guess it, but I think this is the best option at this time. With that being said, we're going to call the question. So the motion on the floor is to approve the letter of support.
I did put in to speak, Mr. Baptiste, but you about 10 times and it's ignored. Why?
Because you're in the attendees section, and that's the reason why I can't see you. But go ahead, Ms. Williams, if you have a question.
No, I don't have a question. I just have a suggestion. I just wanted to say that this is something that we really don't need to be belaboring this much, because we walk the street. I'm not doing that much these days, but I've worked in the health field for 20 years, and I'm here in my house. And I have people call me who work in hospitals, work in different areas of healthcare, and they have problems. They're stressed. They have anxiety, and they don't want to go to certain places. They don't want to talk to just anybody. This might be a place where they might find that they can go there and talk privately with them, and they might be able to lead them to somewhere else where they can get help, or just with the thought that you can have somewhere or someone to talk to. So I think this is really something that we shouldn't be taking 2 hours to go over, because it's needed in our community. There are things there people don't talk to each other. Sometimes the reason is they have problem. This might be a place where they might find it very easy to go in and find someone to talk to, or they might be able to help them to find someone with a talk show or someone that you can talk to. And this is something for health. A lot of people are under stress out there, the parents, the students, everybody. So anything that can help in line of mental health or health, I think we should embrace that, give it a chance to see how it works, and help it to grow.
Amen.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Williams. And with that, we're going to call the question. We're going to do roll call. Oh, no, we're not going to do the roll call. All those in favor of approving the application, the letter of support, please say aye.
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 Okay. So if there are any members who are in opposition, please say your name so we can record it for the record. Any members in opposition, please say your name.
Yes. This is Sue Chong. I'm opposed. I would not recommend a doctor that I did not know anything about. I cannot recommend them. I don't have any information.
Suki. Oh, yeah. Okay, Ms. Williams.
I'm not
No.
voting,
All we
Vivian.
need. Okay, so you're voting no, or you're voting?
I'm not voting.
Okay, wait. We'll call for abstentions. Give me a moment. Are there any other voting in opposition? Anybody who's a no vote? Yes, no votes. All those who wish to abstain, Ms. Morgan, we've got you as an abstention. Are there any other abstentions?
Blackwell.
Augustine Blackwell, please note her as an abstention. Anyone else?
Me, Kyrie.
Kyrie Aline, please note him as an abstention.
Burke.
Warren Burke, please note him as an abstention. Are there any other abstentions? Seeing none, I see a majority of the board has voted in favor. The motion carries. The letter of support will be
Fred,
received on behalf of.
it's Amy. It's Amy. I need to abstain. I'm sorry, I couldn't unmute, so I'm abstaining as well.
Okay, please note Ms. Pinkerton. Okay, the majority of the board has voted in favor of. The motion carries. The letter of support will be provided by CB9 on behalf of NYCCP. Okay, I believe we have, well, hold on. Is there any unfinished business before the board at this time?
All business.
Yes, any
Thank
old
you,
business?
Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry?
I said thank you.
You? Is there any new business before the board at this time? Seeing none, I want to thank all the, yeah, I know. I want to thank all the members. And listen, I really have to say this. It's like, this is not hard. This is not easy. This is definitely a sacrifice you're making. But if nothing else, I'm very, very satisfied with the way we've had this conversation, the way we arrive at conclusions. Not always happy, but at the very least, we think we do a very good job in terms of fleshing out the issues. You know, and this is the tone that I always want us to continue in. We're going to hear, we'll have the conversation. Sometimes they're hard, but we're going to do them. I thank you all for your time, for your sacrifice. I hope everyone stays well. I hope your families are well. And I just wish you all the best. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned. Yanela.
Second,
Moved by
Vivian.
Yanela Rome Perry, Vivian Murphy,
Vivian,
second.
thank you.
I've got 19 seconds, and all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Good
The ayes
morning.
have it.
Fred.
Aye.
Fred.
Time is 10:27. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good
Thank
morning.
You. Bye.
Good morning.
Fred.
Good night.
Hey, Ms. Williams.
Fred.
Morning.
Hello.
Good night.
Right here. I'm here.
Fred, could you give me the name of the organization?
It's New York Center
Call the board
for-
office. The meeting is adjourned.
New York Center
for Community Psychoanalysis.